Chapter 122. When Jian Qian heard Lin Yu's words, he smiled meaningfully. It's good that you have the heart to return it. You can state your conditions. The sword race is a place of reason. His gaze landed on Lin Yu. Once Lin Yu handed over the black tortoise sword, it was equivalent to losing a large amount of combat power. If it wasn't for Lin Yu's ability and black tortoise sword chi, Jian Qian wouldn't be so afraid. The condition is simple. I want the honorable sword to personally come and take it. Lin Yu stared at Jian Qian with no fear in his eyes. It's reasonable for the sword race's patriarch to personally take one of the 4 great sacred swords that has been lost for many years, right? Ha! Jian Qian didn't know what Lin Yu meant and shook his head with a smile. I won't hide it from you. My father, the honorable sword, has been in seclusion for 10 years and hasn't come out yet. Now I'm the one in charge of the sword race. Before Jian Qian finished speaking, Lin Yu had already turned and walked out of the city gate. Stop him. Under Jian Qian's command, dozens of sword tribes experts rushed forward, blocking the path of Lin Yu's group. Young master, are we going to fight? Lu Wuhan was filled with fighting spirit. Dragon Scale was ready to attack. Lin Yu shook his head. No. I'm also a reasonable person. After he said that, the black tortoise sword chi in the sky roared and smashed down on the sword race people blocking the way. Rumble! The dense and domineering black tortoise sword smashed down like a great demon. The sword race people didn't even have a chance to attack before they were all hit by the black tortoise. In an instant, they were all heavily injured. Young master is really a reasonable person. Yi Mingyue laughed. Yeah, they don't even want to kill anymore. Lin Yu was very careful. These people only lost their combat power and didn't really die. What does the black tortoise sword chi have to do with our young master? Xia Bing smiled in admiration. After following me for so long, you've finally learned a little. Lin Yu praised. Just a moment ago, Jian Yinzi had lost and still launched a sneak attack. Even if he died, Lin Yu would still be in the right. However, if he were to casually kill people now, it would be hard to say. Again? Lin Yu didn't even turn his head, but his words were meant for Jian Chen, who had just given the order. Jian Chen's face darkened. Even if the azure dragon sword on his back did not lose to the black tortoise sword, he had already lost to Lin Yu once. He looked up at the black tortoise in the sky. To be able to make the black tortoise sword chi look like a real beast, he knew that he could not do what Lin Yu did. Jian Qian took a deep breath. He already knew that this would happen. Do you really want to see the sword venerable? When you become the leader of the sword tribe, I can also meet you. Lin Yu turned around, knowing that they could finally have a good talk. Unfortunately, you're not. This sentence seemed to have hit Jian Qian's sore spot. At this moment, Jian Qian's sword chi and glory chi exploded. He took a step forward. Originally, he was still a few feet away from Lin Yu, but in the blink of an eye, he was already standing 3 feet away from him. Ground shrink. 9 suns transcendent realm. Long Lin and the others became alert, but Lin Yu was not afraid. This was because the black tortoise sword chi had already opened its bloody mouth and would fall at any time. Also, behind Lin Yu, a dark vortex had already appeared. Although Jian Qian's old eyes were filled with anger, his face twitched. Even with his 9 suns transcendent realm cultivation, he still felt a sense of crisis. I can't fight. If I can't take him down, it would be a disgrace to the entire South. Do you still need to consider? Okay, I promise you. Jian Qian's old face turned red, and he forcefully suppressed his killing intent. However, the sword venerable is in seclusion. I need to inform him. The earliest I can see him is tomorrow morning. When he said this, his pupils trembled slightly as he carefully observed Lin Yu's reaction. Lin Yu shrugged, and Jian Qian could not see any abnormalities in his expression. Okay, tomorrow it is. Jian Jing, bring the guests to the sword cleansing pool for a night. Do not neglect them. After Jian Qian finished instructing, he left. After hearing this, Jian Chun understood something and immediately followed Jian Qian. Everyone, please follow me. When Jian Jing saw that the sword race people were injured by the black tortoise sword Qi, he could not help but swallow his saliva. It was only when Lin Yu kept the black tortoise sword that he felt the dangerous pressure disappear. Lead the way. In the sky above the sword race city, on the magnificent stone sword, Jian Qian returned to his palace. Immediately, a maidservant came to serve him. Kneel. The maidservant's face was pale. She did not know why Jian Qian was so angry. However, the clothes on her shoulders were instantly pulled down by Jian Qian, and her head was directly pressed down by Jian Qian. Jian Chun came in at this time. Seeing this, he could not help but be shocked. He had never seen Jian Qian so angry before. Father, that bastard has ancestral awakening. His bloodline is even more powerful than his dead father's. We can't let him leave. Naturally, he was talking about the sword maniac. Idiot, can't you see that Lin Yu is the most troublesome person? Even now, you only know how to compete with that bastard. Jian Qian stared at Jian Chen with a sharp gaze. You were defeated by Lin Yu. It's not an injustice. Father, if we fight again, I might not lose to him. Jian Chen was very indignant. He was the top prodigy of the sword race, at least for now. Lin Yu is not simple. Regardless of strength, courage, or strategy, you can't compare to him. Even if you were given 100 chances, you wouldn't be able to defeat him. Jian Qian took a deep breath. As he twitched, he kicked the maidservant away. Hearing this, Jian Chun felt a sense of defeat. He was the top prodigy of the southern border. When had he ever been defeated like this? Do you know why I arranged for them to stay at the sword cleansing pool? Of course. Father, are you going to use the 4 sacred sword formation? That's right. Although we don't have the black tortoise sword, since you're back, together with your azure dragon sword, the power of the 3 sacred swords is enough to kill him. Jian Chun sneered. The 4 sacred sword formation is the most powerful sword formation in the sword race. Unfortunately, it takes time to set it up. However, the sword cleansing pool has the natural interference of the sword qi. Even if we set up the formation around Lin Yu and the others, they won't notice. Do it quickly. Lin Yu is not simple. Since he came with the sword maniac, he's our enemy. If we let him grow, even if I attack him personally, I won't be his match in the future. So even if we might be criticized by the Wind-Moon race, the sword race must kill Lin Yu. After Jian Chen finished speaking, he cupped his fists and left. Jian Qian closed his eyes and slumped into his seat, looking exhausted. How did that kid know about the 4 sacred black tortoise sword technique? Could it be that the 4 sacred swords have secrets that I don't know? Ridiculous. Jian Qian clenched his fists tightly. You said that I can't be the clan leader? Jian Lingtian, you're already dead. Let's see how long that old man who doesn't have much time left can mourn you. In the sword cleansing pool, Lin Yu and the others settled down after Jian Jing's arrangement. This river surrounds this place. The environment is quiet. Old Lu, the sword qi here is very dense. Elder Long, the ancient swords in the river are the swords of the sword race's death race. Chapter 123. Sword Maniac's tone was sorrowful. She was still a member of the sword race. Everyone looked at the clear river water. There were indeed many swords at the bottom of the river. There are also many broken swords. I heard that this sword cleansing pool is used to wash away the hostility on the swords and the sword qi of the previous user. Xia Bing looked at Lin Yu subconsciously. Yi Mingwei and the others also looked over. Yes. Lin Yu nodded. Sword Maniac, I have something to tell you. The rest of you, find a room to rest first. Sword Maniac's eyes were filled with surprise as she entered the room alone with Lin Yu. Close the door. Sword Maniac obediently closed the door. Young master, please speak. Do you know about the Four Sages sword formation? I think I heard Dad mention it when I was young, but I'm not very sure. This was also within Lin Yu's expectations. The sword cleansing pool contains natural ownerless sword chi. These sword chi are also the nutrients of the Four Sages sword formation. Sword Maniac was puzzled and looked surprised. To put it simply, this sword cleansing pool, the river it forms, all the houses within 100 feet radius, and the ground are all buried with a sword formation. Sword Maniac's eyes flashed with shock. Young master, how do you know about such a huge formation? That's not important, but you should know why Jianqian arranged for us to be here. He wants to use the sword formation to kill us. But why? Young master has already agreed to hand over the black tortoise sword. It's hard to know what's in a person's heart. Moreover, Jianqian is not a good person to begin with. Have you forgotten what happened to you? Sword Maniac's pretty face froze and immediately turned pale. When she was young, her father had said the same thing to her when he sent her away. Father has never done anything to hurt them, but it's fine. I guess the formation will be fully activated tonight, because they don't plan to let me see the sword venerable. Why, Grandpa is still the sword race's patriarch. Lin Yu shook his head. He's just a figurehead. The sword venerable lost your father, and he thought he lost you too. He's already an old man, but he can't protect his descendants. Lin Yu felt helpless. It just so happened that the person who wanted to harm you and your father was his other son. Tell me, could he still be the sword exalted that symbolized the pinnacle of the sword Tao in the southern border? When Sword Fanatic heard this, he grabbed his clothes in a panic. Young master, let's run then. She knew that the sword tribe was already in such a state, but the most important thing now was that Jianqian wanted to use the Four Sacred Sword formation to deal with them. The Sword Fanatic did not want anyone to get hurt because of her. Especially Lin Yu. I won't be able to leave. If I hadn't been able to stop Jianqian for a while today, he would have already attacked. Lin Yu took out the black tortoise sword from his storage ring and handed it to Sword Fanatic. Do you know why the black tortoise sword is the only black tortoise sword out there? Sword Addict shook his head. Because the most important core of the Four Sacred Swords formation is the black tortoise sword. Sword Fanatic's heart trembled. Young master, how did you know? In her eyes, Lin Yu was already an omniscient existence like a god. Lin Yu naturally would not tell her this in detail. In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he explored all the secrets in the world and learned about all the powerful people. It was all his way to relieve his boredom. Otherwise, he would have been bored to death. During the war between the 8 tribes in the southern land, the Sword Tribe's tribe leader once relied on the Four Sacred Swords formation to kill countless enemies. However, later on, his opponent also knew how to break it. The Black Tortoise Sword is the core of the formation and the most important sword to control the Four Sacred Swords formation. Sword Fanatic was enlightened. She finally understood why Lin Yu knew about Jianqian's scheme. However, she still agreed to wait at the sword cleansing pool for a night. Young master, we can use the Black Tortoise Sword to control the Four Sacred Swords formation. Not us, but you. Lin Yu approached Sword Fanatic and looked into her eyes. I want you to kill Jianqian tonight. Young master. Sword Fanatic's heart pounded. I'm not his match. With the Four Sacred Swords formation in hand, you can kill anyone from the Sword Tribe. Only with Jianqian dead will I have a bargaining chip to negotiate with your grandfather, the Sword Sovereign. Lin Yu knew very well what he was doing. Every step he took was within his calculations. Sword Fanatic's jade-like hand held the thick sword hilt, unable to calm down for a long time. However, in her heart, no matter what Lin Yu asked her to do, it seemed to be the right thing to do. I understand, young master. Sword Fanatic's bright eyes were filled with determination. It's almost time. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Have you seen the 4 sacred black tortoise sword technique clearly? Yes, young master has used it twice. I remember the moves, but I'll pass on the mental cultivation method and skill to you now. After saying that, Lin Yu sat on the bed. Sword fanatic understood Lin Yu's meaning and sat on the bed as well. However, her heart was racing. Young master, will this affect your cultivation? No, I'll be able to cultivate it back in 2 days. Lin Yu said truthfully. Sword fanatic's heart tightened. Even if Lin Yu did not deliberately show it, his every word and action revealed his monstrous confidence in martial arts. 2 days to cultivate the 4 sacred black tortoise sword technique that had been passed down in the sword tribe for thousands of years. Sword fanatic knew that even her father would not dare to say such a thing, let alone her. But when it came to Lin Yu, sword fanatic firmly believed in him. She closed her eyes as Lin Yu pressed his hands on her back. The 4 sacred black tortoise sword technique skill turned into a warm current that flowed out from Lin Yu's palms. Sword fanatic's breathing became hotter and hotter. She could feel this warm current entering her body and opening up her meridians. Sword fanatic's body could not help but tremble. Her entire body was drenched in sweat. 2 hours later, when sword fanatic opened her eyes, the black tortoise sword beside her vibrated. As if sensing sword fanatic's bloodline and the 4 sacred black tortoise sword technique, the black tortoise sword flew into sword fanatic's hand. I've never felt this before. She got off the bed and kowtowed to Lin Yu. Young master's grace of rebirth, sword fanatic will never forget it. Lin Yu shrugged. This was not harmful to him. Change your clothes first. Lin Yu turned his head away. Ah! Sword fanatic could not help but scream. However, she immediately covered her mouth. She thought that this was a sensitive period. If she was misunderstood, she would be finished. Sword fanatic knew that she could not go out like this. She turned around and took out a set of clothes from her storage ring to change into. Young master, don't look. I won't look, I won't look. Sword fanatic's back was facing Lin Yu. Of course, she did not know that he had already turned around. Right, I need you to do something for me. Sword fanatic's heart thumped. I agree. You're not going to ask what it is. There's no need to ask. Sword fanatic put on her clothes and turned around. She thought that Lin Yu had also just turned around. I will always agree to young master's matters. Lin Yu smiled. It's actually not a difficult matter. Chapter 124. I need you to lend me the 4 sacred swords for a period of time when you become the Sword Clan leader. Sword Clan leader. Sword fanatic was shocked. She was only able to return to the Sword Clan because of Lin Yu's help. However, she had never thought that she could become the Sword Clan leader. If Jian Lingtian hadn't lost all his cultivation, he would be the Sword Clan leader now. You are his only daughter, and your talent is passable. If nothing goes wrong, you will be the next Sword Clan leader. But can we do it now? Sword fanatic was clearly not confident. Lin Yu was right, but it was almost impossible to snatch the Sword Clan back from Jian Qiun and his son. Young master, I notice that everyone in the Sword Clan seems to be afraid of them. Your grandfather has been in seclusion for 10 years. The Sword Clan is already under Jian Qiun's control. Of course they are afraid. Lin Yu could not help but add. Do you think those who supported your father or those who opposed him will have a good ending after he gains power? He is someone who can kill his own elder brother. Sword fanatic's heart tightened. She felt a tearing pain. This made her even more determined to fulfill her promise to Lin Yu. Jian Churn had to be eliminated. Jian Qiun had to be eliminated even more. Otherwise, the Sword Clan would be ruled by a tyrant. Young master, if I become the Sword Clan leader, I will definitely give you the 4 sacred swords. Very good. It was already dark. However, just as Lin Yu finished speaking, an earth-shattering sword chi came from outside. The sword chi's pressure fell like a torrential rain, causing Long Lin and the others in the other rooms to appear outside the sword cleansing pool in shock. Jian Chen, what is the meaning of this? Jian Chen could not help but laugh maniacally when he heard Long Lin and Lu Wuhan's questioning. You don't even know that death is near. A bunch of fools. Jian Chen was currently standing in the air above the sword cleansing pool. Around him, 3 long swords floated in the air. Lin Yu, sword fanatic, come out and fight. Jian Chen's voice reverberated within 100 feet radius. Lin Yu slowly walked out of the room. What's wrong? Did you call your grandfather? That old man's position is only in name. I am the future master of the sword race. When Jian Chen saw Lin Yu, he was filled with anger. He raised his hand, and above the sword cleansing pool, a Tenjiang sword array appeared, covering the entire sky. Within the array formation, golden patterns were densely packed, outlining lines of ancient runes. Every rune seemed to be flowing with the light of sword energy. The entire sword formation was made up of sword chi. What a powerful sword formation! This formation is even more powerful than the 4 directions killing formation that young master taught us. Isn't that obvious? This array has absorbed all the sword chi in the sword cleansing pool. It's basically the strongest array formed by the sword souls of the sword race. Lu Wuhan and Long Lin both felt an unprecedented pressure. However, Lin Yu did not panic. Instead, he wanted to laugh. The stronger the sword formation, the better. After all, he would be able to use it in the end. The top array formation of the southern border. Unfortunately, when used by you, it's too weak. What? Jian Qian let you come alone? I alone am enough to deal with you. Jian Chen stared at Lin Yu with a sharp killing intent. Make your move. What are you pretending for? If you really have the ability to cause trouble for our young master, would you need to bring so many people? With the Phoenix Cry spear in hand, Lu Wuhan swept out with the absolute 3 thrusts. On the other side of the sword cleansing pool, in the dark night, where the wind from the spear passed, at least 30 people were killed. Long Lin sneered. How can that brat maintain such a powerful array formation by himself? Yi Mingyue also felt that Jian Chen's actions were shameful. What a pretentious act. You only dare to deal with our young master because you have more than 30 people to form a sword formation. If you have the guts, then fight one-on-one. Hearing this, Lin Yu and the others couldn't help but laugh. I didn't expect Miss Yi to have such a common side. Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. Yi Mingyue snorted. I just hate those people. They clearly can't compare to you, but they insist on finding trouble with you. It doesn't matter. None of you can escape today. As Lin Yu's voice fell, Yi Mingyue and the others' hearts skipped a beat. You already knew? I wanted to fight, but how did young master find a way? Yi Mingyue and Lu Wuhan looked over in shock. They had been with Lin Yu for a long time, and they had also been tempered to be unafraid of bloody battles. Otherwise, if they were ordinary people, under the pressure of the 4 sages' sword formation, they would have knelt down and begged for mercy. You're about to die, yet you're still so arrogant. Jian Chen couldn't stand Lin Yu's attitude of always ignoring him, the number 1 genius of the southern border. At this moment, he activated the 4 sages' sword formation. In the sword formation above, suddenly, tens of millions of sword chi seeped out like raindrops. The tip of the sword was pointed at Lin Yu and the others. A life and death crisis was about to descend. I'm the strongest of the younger generation in the southern border, the future leader of the sword tribe. You and Jian Fanatic, that bastard, must die. Tens of millions of sword chi suddenly fell. Young master, don't worry. The sword chi approached instantly. Suddenly, a thick and powerful sword chi appeared in the room behind Lin Yu and the others. Tortoise body, dragon head, snake tail. The black tortoise sword chi pierced through the sky. 4 sages' black tortoise sword technique. Jian Chen was shocked. Why wasn't Lin Yu the one using the black tortoise sword technique? However, at this moment, a beautiful figure in the room raised her sword and bathed in the black tortoise sword chi like a goddess from the 9 heavens. Her slender and hot figure was like a female war god at this moment as she swept her sword down. Jian fanatic, you know the black tortoise sword technique too. Jian Chen roared. Only the leader could learn the 4 sages' sword technique. Even if he had the 3 swords, he and Jian Qian didn't know the azure dragon, white tiger, and vermilion bird sword techniques. However, the 4 sages' black tortoise sword technique was being used by Lin Yu and Jian fanatic. Jian Chen couldn't accept this. Today, even the black tortoise sword technique can't stop my 4 sages' sword formation. Is that so? Jian fanatic's beautiful face looked coldly at the people outside the sword cleansing pool. These people are here to kill you, young master. As soon as she said that, the sword chi in her right hand suddenly changed. The black tortoise sword chi roared into the sky and faced the descending sword chi. You can't take it. Jian Chen's 3 swords flew up, but all of a sudden, the 3 swords vibrated violently. Damn it, what's going on? The huge black tortoise sword chi didn't collide with the sword formation. Instead, they merged. The moment the black tortoise sword chi merged, the sword formation that was 100 feet wide suddenly trembled. 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet. The black fog in the night churned and rolled back. On the magnificent stone sword, Jian Qian was waiting for Jian Chen's good news. He looked in the direction of the sword cleansing pool from afar and saw the changes in the sword formation. Something's wrong. Jian Qian felt uneasy and instantly moved towards the sword cleansing pool. He knew the power of the 4 sages' sword formation in Jian Chen's hands. It wasn't that powerful. Chapter 125. This is the complete 4 sages' sword array. Good, sword maniac, the heavens are on my side. Jian Chen was overjoyed. With young master here, even the heavens can't save you. As soon as sword maniac finished speaking, the sword chi that was approaching Lin Yu and the others suddenly changed direction and rushed to the other side of the sword cleansing pool. No, this is impossible. Jian Chen frantically activated his cultivation to control the 3 swords, but he realized that the 3 swords had instantly appeared beside sword maniac. There was no reaction at all. The only control of the sword array was the black tortoise sword that sword maniac was pointing at him. Wait, sword maniac, I'm your cousin. I was wrong. I was wrong. Jian Chen's voice rang out, but only he could hear it, because the rain of swords had already fallen. The complete 4 sages' sword array smashed toward the other side of the sword cleansing pool. At the bottom of the pool, the countless swords that seemed to be sleeping vibrated at the same time and broke out of the ground and merged with the sword chi falling from the sky. The real swords and the virtual swords struck from above and below Jian Chen and all the people he had brought with him. Under the attack of the sword array, it was as if they had been wiped out. Not even a piece of their body was left. Blood dyed the sword cleansing pool red. How terrifying! This is the 4 sages' sword array. Even Long Lin and Lu Wuhan were extremely shocked at this moment, let alone Xia Bing and Yi Mingyue. If this sword array fell on them, they would probably end up exactly like Jian Chen. I've finally seen the power of the 8 races of the southern border. Yi Mingyue murmured in shock. In the air, sword maniac staggered and finally collapsed into Lin Yu's arms, as if he had exhausted all his strength. Young master, I did it. Sword maniac looked exhausted. Very good. Lin Yu took out a large number of elixirs and dazzling gold from his storage ring. Under the burning of the true sunfire, they turned into pure medicinal power and merged into sword maniac's body. When sword maniac's complexion recovered, she steadied herself. Lin Yu looked in the direction of the stone sword. There, a furious roar sounded. Lin Yu, you killed my son. Sword fanatic looked at Lin Yu with self-blame. Young master, I'm afraid I won't be able to use the 4 sages' sword formation a second time. It's all right. Lin Yu knew that Sword Fanatic's vitality had been damaged. Jian Chen needed more than 30 people to activate the sword array. Although Sword Fanatic had managed to snatch the sword formation that had already taken shape, he had expended a lot of glory energy. I'm sorry, my cultivation is too low. Sword Fanatic knew that if she was not at the Samsara stage but a transcendent stage cultivator, she would not be so weak. Lin Yu waved his hand and stored the 4 holy swords into his storage ring. At the same time, he pointed in a direction. Let's go. Everyone was confused. That direction was a small path, and they didn't know where it led. However, since Lin Yu was walking in front, they naturally followed him. 10 breaths later, the 9 great suns descended. Jian Qian's old eyes were bloodshot. Damn it, Chen-er. Jian Qian spread out his spiritual senses, but he couldn't find any traces of Lin Yu and the others. The worst thing was that he couldn't even find Jian Chen's corpse. The ground was filled with pieces of flesh and blood. It was impossible to tell who was who. 4 Sacred Sword Array. Why did the 4 Sacred Sword Array backfire? Behind him, countless Sword Tribe elders had also arrived. Did the young Sword Venerable's life light extinguish? It can't be wrong. Sword Sun, the young Sword Venerable, Jian Qian gritted his teeth. The 9 Sun Transcendent Realms' glory energy burned, and the surrounding ground was set ablaze. Seal the Sword Tribe and dig those people out. Yes. However, at that moment, the ground shook again. The sound of a bell echoed throughout the Sword Tribe. That's the Sword Venerable's seclusion place. Presumptuous. Who dares to disturb the Sword Venerable at this time? Jian Qian looked over, and his heart tightened. Not good. It's Lin Yu. That old thing is his target. A diversion. Jian Qian's figure shot out, and all the Sword Tribe elders followed closely behind. The Sword Tribe's most secretive place. Lin Yu let go of the wooden stake. Young master, why did you ring the bell? They had already safely left the sword cleansing pool. However, Xia Bing did not understand why they had to make such a big commotion. Of course, it's for fun. Lin Yu shrugged and raised his hand to Sword Fanatic. Put your hand on it. Everyone was now in front of a huge stone door. On this stone door, there were various inscriptions and patterns. In the middle of it, there was a palm-sized groove. Sword Fanatic placed her hand on it, and the groove suddenly emitted a suction force. It's the same as the light at the Sword Tribe's city gate. Sword Fanatic immediately felt that the groove was checking her bloodline. After a while, a crack appeared in the middle of the stone door. The crack grew bigger and bigger. Sword Fanatic put down her hand, and the stone door opened. At that moment, a shocking sword aura surged out from the stone door. Lin Yu and the others suddenly felt a strong sense of oppression. Let's go in. Lin Yu stepped forward. Behind the stone door was a secret chamber, as if it had not been opened for many years. The air inside was not good. However, everyone's attention was not on this. Instead, they saw a figure sitting cross-legged on a stone platform in the middle of the secret chamber. The figure had a head of white hair. His head was lowered, making it impossible to tell if he was a man or a woman. However, based on the sword aura here, everyone knew who he was. The number 1 Sword Dao person in the southern border, Sword Venerable. But why does he look like this? Lu Wuhan and Long Lin quickly noticed that Sword Venerable's body was covered in dust. His clothes were also worse than the ordinary Sword Tribe disciples they had seen before. Especially his clothes, they still looked a little rotten. It gave off a desolate feeling of aging and decay. It was hard to imagine that this was the famous Sword Venerable. Junior Lin Yu is here to return the Black Tortoise Sword to the Sword Tribe. Lin Yu's voice sounded. Sword Venerable still had his head lowered and did not move. He was like an old tree that had long withered. Lin Yu sighed softly. I brought Sword Fanatic back. As soon as he said that, the sword aura around them increased by 100 times. Sword Venerable slowly raised his head. His eye bags were extremely heavy, and his face was extremely pale. However, there was still a fierce look in his eyes. His gaze landed on Lin Yu, who was speaking, and quickly shifted to Xia Bing and Yi Mingyue. He shook his head again. Finally, his gaze landed on Sword Fanatic. "Child, is it really you?" Sword Venerable's hoarse and weak voice came out of his mouth. Sword Fanatic's eyes were red. She still remembered that this old man had hugged and doted on her when she was a child. Therefore, from the moment Sword Fanatic came in, he felt a stabbing pain in his heart when he saw Sword Venerable in this state. Unfilial granddaughter, Sword Fanatic greets grandfather. Sword Fanatic knelt down and bowed deeply. This bow seemed to make Sword Venerable's face glow. "Child, you're still alive. You're really still alive." Chapter 126. Anything could be deceived, but the bloodline in one's bones could not lie. Sword Venerable was sure that Sword Maniac had his bloodline. Jian Lingtian's shadow was also present. Boom! At this moment, the warm scene was broken by a loud sound. Outside the stone door, Jian Qiun came in anger. Behind him were 36 white-haired elders. "Father, you're awake. Congratulations." Jian Qiun stepped forward and stood in front of Sword Venerable with his hands behind his back. He did not show any respect. "Since father is awake, let's pass on the throne." Jian Qiun's face was as cold as ice. "The sooner I fulfill this wish, the sooner I can restore the glory of the Sword Clan." Other than Lin Yu, everyone was shocked. This old father who had locked him up for 10 years had to give up the throne as soon as he saw his only son? Jian Qiun stared at Lin Yu like a poisonous snake. "Men, capture Lin Yu and the others." "Young master?" Lin Yu shrugged with an indifferent look on his face. "There's no need for us to do anything." Lin Yu finished speaking. Jian Qiun also sensed that something was wrong. He ordered the 36 elders to separate Lin Yu and the others. "Father, you're old. I'm the only one who can inherit the position of Sword Clan leader." Sword Venerable still did not look at him. Instead, he waved at Sword Maniac. "Child, come here and let Grandpa take a look," Sword Venerable said. Jian Qiun's eyes narrowed. "Old thing, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf?" Sword Maniac stepped forward. Jian Qiun wanted to stop her. But at this moment, a powerful aura appeared in the sky above the Sword Clan. "Haha, old friend Qiun, long time no see." When the voice came, Xia Bing's body shook. "Why is uncle here?" While she was shocked, Xia Jie had already stepped through the stone door. "The person you want is there." Jian Qiun glanced at Xia Bing. Xia Jie nodded in satisfaction. "Take it that I owe you a favor." Then, he walked toward Xia Bing. "Xia Bing, uncle is here for the Sacred Heart Cauldron." As he finished speaking, a surge of 9 suns transcendent realm cultivation pressed down. Xia Bing suddenly felt a little breathless. "Xia Jie, aren't you afraid that young master will destroy the Sacred Heart Cauldron?" Yi Mingyue sensed the pain on Xia Bing's pretty face under the pressure and immediately threatened her. The corners of Xia Jie's mouth curled up. "Now that there is no one from the Yao clan, they can't wait for me to destroy the Sacred Heart Cauldron. It seems like someone can't help but want to replace it." Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. "Young master. Uncle, what are you planning to do?" Xia Bing's pupils dilated as she suddenly understood. Xia Jie looked at Lin Yu and said, "You're smart, kid." He sighed. "If I can make use of someone like you, I can guarantee that you will be second only to me and above everyone else in the Yao clan." Everyone was shocked. Who would have thought that aside from the Sacred Heart Cauldron, Xia Jie also wanted to subdue Lin Yu? "What if it doesn't work for you? This old man admires your ability. If you can't be of use to me, then of course I can't let a future trouble like you stay. It seems like you and Jian Qiun don't intend to let me walk out alive today." Hearing the conversation between Lin Yu and Xia Jie, the people behind Lin Yu were ready to fight to the death. Xia Bing colluded with the enemy and destroyed the Sacred Heart Cauldron. I'll kill her, Xia Jie said with a sinister expression. Lin Yu, what do you think of this excuse? Lin Yu shrugged. You came alone today. Didn't you already think of this? Haha, it's rare to see such a smart young man. Xia Jie nodded with satisfaction. He didn't know if he was satisfied with Lin Yu for guessing his thoughts or was satisfied with his methods. On the other side, Sword Fanatic saw that Xia Jie was about to harm the young master and was about to rush over. Child, between you and Jian Chen, who's stronger? Sword Fanatic was stunned and didn't understand why the Sword Venerable would ask such a question. Enough. Jian Qian's pupils contracted. Father, she's just a samsara realm trash. How can she be compared to Jian Chen? A laugh sounded. How can a dead person be compared to Sword Fanatic? The person who spoke was Lin Yu. Jian Qian had a bad feeling. The Sword Venerable was even more shocked. Chen is dead? Lin Yu nodded with a smile. Jian Chen wanted to kill Sword Fanatic with the 4 Sacred Sword formation but was killed by Sword Fanatic instead. Sword Venerable should know who's more suitable to inherit the position of Sword Patriarch, right? How dare you? Sword Fanatic, your father betrayed the clan first. Today you still dare to kill Jian Chen. Die. Jian Qian raised his right hand and a beam of sword qi shot out, instantly approaching Sword Fanatic. Sword Fanatic's expression changed. She couldn't dodge Jian Qian's attack at all. However, at the same time, Sword Venerable released an even more powerful sword qi that destroyed Jian Qian's sword qi. In that instant, the sword qi floating in the air that was about to dissipate suddenly gathered in the secret chamber. Father. Jian Qian's tone was surprised, but he was much more polite. He was shocked. He didn't expect Sword Venerable to have such power. The sword qi floating in the air had already enveloped everyone. Once it exploded, everyone in the secret chamber would have to face countless sword qi attacks. Child, don't be afraid. Grandpa is here. Sword Venerable's gentle voice sounded. Sword Fanatic heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you, Grandpa. Sword Venerable's old eyes were filled with tears. Tell Grandpa the truth. Did Jian Chen really want to kill you? Sword Fanatic nodded and told him the truth. Good, Jian Qian. Your son is even more vicious than you. Sword Venerable's gaze landed on Jian Qian. His murderous aura enveloped Jian Qian. In an instant, Jian Qian felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He took a few steps back. Father, this bastard committed the same crime as his father. Why are you still protecting him? Jian Qian's face was filled with indignation. However, he was more afraid of Sword Venerable's current strength. He didn't expect Sword Venerable to still be so powerful. On the other side, Lin Yu looked at Xia Jie. Your accomplice seems to be dying. Aren't you going to help? Xia Jie narrowed his eyes. I only came here because the traitor of the medicine clan, Xia Bing, is here. What accomplice are you talking about? Lin Yu couldn't be bothered to argue with him. He took a step forward. Xia Jie wanted to stop him, but the sword qi around him suddenly gathered. Sword Venerable! People of the medicine clan. This is the Sword Clan. Sword Venerable spoke. Even though Xia Jie's eyes were filled with hatred, he didn't dare to stop Lin Yu. He was as shocked as Jian Qian. The 8 clans were all saying that Sword Venerable was dying. He didn't expect to see such a powerful existence with his own eyes. Grandpa, young master protected me along the way. That's why I could come here. After Sword Fanatic finished speaking, the elders surrounding Lin Yu felt their hearts tighten. Get lost. The Sword Venerable came over with a stern voice, causing the few elders to retreat in fear. Stop right there. This is the Sword Clan's private matter. Lin Yu, who do you think you are? How dare you meddle in other people's business? Chapter 127. Jian Qian had a bad feeling in his heart. The current situation was all planned by Lin Yu. Lin Yu approached him step by step. Jian Lingtian trusted you, but you killed him. Presumptuous. Jian Qian stabbed with his sword. Continue. Sword Venerable's voice came, and dozens of sword auras blocked Jian Qian's path. Every sword was permeated with a horrifying chill. Those were invincible realm sword cultivators. Lin Yu met Sword Venerable's gaze. Actually, you know very well that with Jian Lingtian's talent in swordsmanship, it's impossible for him to go berserk while cultivating the twin extremes of life and death. Sword Venerable's heart tightened, and the surrounding temperature plummeted again. The invincible chill was enough to crush all the transcendent realm experts present. Even Sword Fanatic looked at Lin Yu with a sad face when he heard his father's name. Young master, was my father harmed? Lin Yu nodded. It's a pity that too much time has passed since Jian Lingtian went berserk. We can't find any evidence. Jian Qian heaved a sigh of relief. Hee. So you're just trying to frame me. Men, take this kid down. Sword Venerable's invincible realm aura did not dissipate, and those elders couldn't move at all. Lin Yu smiled faintly and continued. After Jian Lingtian went berserk, his cultivation was crippled. It's impossible for him to become the successor of the Sword Clan. So, even if he was wronged, it's no longer important. Of course, Jian Qian wouldn't be stupid enough to sneak up on Jian Lingtian. He needed to find a way to make Jian Lingtian unable to pursue the matter. The only way to cripple his brother, who had been stepping on his head, was to poison him. With Jian Lingtian's strength, he wouldn't be poisoned unless it's the colorless blood reversal pill. When Lin Yu's voice fell, Jian Qian and Xia Jie's expressions changed at the same time. You're slandering me. Jian Qian scolded, but because Sword Venerable's sword aura was still present, he didn't dare to act rashly. On the other side, Xia Jie stared at Lin Yu. Xia Bing's body trembled. The colorless blood-defying pill is one of the 3 unique pills of my Yao clan. It seems that young master was right. This matter is related to your eldest uncle. Yi Mingwei reminded in a low voice. From start to end, Lin Yu was not conversing with Jian Qian. Instead, he kept looking at the Sword Venerable. As long as he could convince the Sword Venerable, everything would be negotiable. It's not that you didn't have any doubts. It's just that the future of the Sword Clan has already been destroyed by Jian Lingtian. Jian Qian was your only hope back then. After hearing Lin Yu's words, the Sword Venerable's eyes were filled with despair. Jian Qian sneered. However, Jian Chen is already dead. Compared to Jian Qian, Jian Qi'er is even more likely to become the Sword Clan's future. Hearing what Lin Yu said, Jian Qian's smile disappeared. A brat who's still wet behind the ears wants to replace me? Jian Qian laughed in disdain. Lin Yu, I originally thought that you were a little smart, but now it seems that you are a complete idiot. Lin Yu still ignored him. Instead, he looked at the Sword Venerable's changing expression and smiled. Jian Qi'er's bloodline, 100 feet ancestral awakening, Black Tortoise Sword Mantra, and 4 Sages Sword Formation have all been used perfectly. It should be able to withstand your lifetime of cultivation. Lin Yu's last sentence sent a chill down Jian Qian's spine. He's crazy, father. Don't listen to this kid's nonsense. Jian Qian was panicking. Now, if the Sword Venerable really listened to Lin Yu, he would be done for. But soon, Jian Qian saw that the Sword Venerable had already grabbed Jian Qi'er's wrist with one hand. Very good, child. You are more outstanding than Lingtian. The Sword Venerable's eyes shone with a rare light. Everyone leave. Child, you stay. I have something to say to you. Jian Qi'er nodded. Old thing, you must be tired of living. Jian Qian's eyes shone fiercely. How could he leave so easily at this time? 36th Elder, young Master Xia, this old thing must be exhausted. He won't be able to withstand more than a few moves. It's time to make a move. As soon as Jian Qian finished speaking, Xia Jie moved and attacked the Sword Venerable with his palm. The 36th elder was still hesitating. Let's see if the old man will kill you after what you've done in the past few years. Jian Qian threatened. The 36th elder looked at each other. Eldest sword son is right. The old patriarch won't be able to hold on for long. They were not fools. They also noticed that the sword qi was not as strong as before. Soon, the 36th elder and Xia Jie surrounded them. Grandfather. Jian Qi's expression changed. In the current situation, they would be surrounded at any time. Even Lin Yu was surrounded. Get ready to save the young master. Outside, Yi Mingyue and the others were ready. However, Lin Yu could not help but laugh. Sword Venerable, you should be able to see who is the real traitor. B****. How could the Sword Venerable not know that Jian Qian could get Xia Jie to help with just one sentence? The truth about Lin Yu's deduction of the colorless blood-defying pill, and the fact that Jian Lingtian had colluded with the medicine clan back then, had already surfaced. That's right. I did it. Jian Qian laughed maniacally. That idiot of a brother. So what if he's talented? In the end, he still can't defeat me. The person who is truly suitable to be the patriarch of the Sword Clan is me, Jian Qian. The tree moves with the wind, but the wind uproots the tree. The fish believes in the water, but the water boils the fish to death. Lin Yu's bright eyes stared at Jian Qian meaningfully. Jian Lingtian started practicing swords at the age of 4. He cultivated sword qi at the age of 10 and stepped into the first realm of the sword principle. At the age of 16, he mastered the state of sword qi and stepped into the second realm of the sword principle. At the age of 30, he mastered the illusory sword and successfully used sword qi regeneration for the first time and stepped into the third realm of the sword principle. Lin Yu's words pierced through Jian Qian's heart. Every sentence was like digging open Jian Qian's most painful scar. At the age of 35, he was already a half-step to the invincible realm. He was the #1 person in the southern border's younger generation. Sword Fanatic's beautiful eyes were drowned in tears. She only knew that the young master knew her father better than she did. Lin Yu stood in front of Jian Qian. He trusted you, so you had the chance to harm him. Jian Qian, even today, 10 years later, your sword principle and cultivation still can't reach Jian Lingtian's height. He smiled and approached Jian Qian. What do you have to compete with him? Not only can you not compete with Jian Lingtian, but even Jian Shen can't compete with Sword Fanatic. Enough. Enough. Behind Jian Qian, 9 scorching suns suddenly erupted. The 9 suns' transcendent realm took a step forward. The ground was like magma passing through, instantly burning into pitch black. Even Lin Yu, Sword Fanatic, and Sword Venerable were like ants under these 9 suns. Lin Yu didn't make any move to counterattack. Just as Sword Fanatic was about to block in front of Lin Yu, in the secret room, countless sword qi instantly shrouded over. It was like a sword qi storm, with Sword Venerable as the center, converging into a vortex. Unfilial son, your talent is not good, but you only know how to use crooked methods. You killed your elder brother and even want to harm Fanatic. You deserve to die. No! The cold sword qi pierced through, and the 9 suns instantly shattered. Chapter 128. As Jian Qian retreated, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The gap between the invincible realm and the transcendent realm was the gap between the second realm and the third realm. Even if the Sword Venerable was old, he was still not someone Jian Qian could match. The Sword Venerable stood up with killing intent. Lin Yu hugged Sword Maniac's waist with one hand. Young master, step back. Don't disturb your grandfather. The two retreated a few feet. Under the thousands of icy aura swords, Xia Jie's eyes flashed, and he retreated temporarily. As for the few elders who had already rushed forward, they were directly penetrated by the aura swords and turned into ice sculptures, shattering instantly. Xia Jie's expression changed greatly, Fortunately, I retreated quickly. He knew that he could not take down the sword Venerable and Lin Yu today. He did not stop and rushed out of the secret room. Xiajia, Brother Qiyun, this is the Sword Clan's family matter. I won't interfere. Xiajia, you bastard! Jian Qian spat out another mouthful of blood. The Sword Venerable's killing intent was aroused. The aura swords pierced through Jian Qian, and Jian Qian's vitality was constantly drained. Father, father, spare my life. Hearing this, Lu Wuhan and the others could not help but laugh. Father is still father. Lin Yu furrowed his brows. Even he was almost caught up in the battle. You deserve to die. The secret room was swallowed by the aura swords. When the aura swords dissipated, only 13 sword tribe elders were left in the battlefield, trembling in fear. As for the others, they all died on the ground together with Jian Qian. Clan leader, spare my life. Clan leader, spare my life. They all knelt down. Only now did they understand that a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Even if the Sword Venerable was old, he was not someone they could fight against. At this moment, the Sword Venerable closed his eyes, and the surroundings were dead silent. Yi Mingwei and the others wanted to ask Lin Yu what to do. However, Lin Yu raised his hand and shook his head. After a long time, the Sword Venerable slowly opened his eyes, but there was too much sadness and disappointment in his eyes. His 2 sons had fought each other. The older one had died in the younger one's hands, and the younger one had also died in his own hands today. This was a fatal blow to an old man. Moreover, Jian Chen had died today. Young master, sword fanatic subconsciously held Lin Yu's hand tightly. Too many things had happened today, and she was completely at a loss. Congratulations, Sword Sovereign. You've gotten rid of the malignant tumor of the sword race, and obtained the most outstanding successor. Lin Yu's voice sounded. The elders cursed in their hearts. At this moment, they all sensed Sword Venerable's sadness. But Lin Yu touched the pot that didn't boil. Wasn't this courting death? Thank you. Sword Venerable's weak voice could be heard. However, he did not blame Lin Yu as the elders had expected. But as soon as the Sword Sovereign finished speaking, he staggered backwards and spat out a mouthful of blood. Grandfather! Sword Fanatic immediately ran over to support Sword Venerable. Lin Yu's figure also changed and came in front of Sword Venerable. Do you have any good medicinal herbs for the mental illness and the chronic illness that has plagued me for many years? Lin Yu sighed and immediately asked the elder. We don't know how to refine pills. How can we have any medicinal herbs? That's right. I do have a few pills here, but I don't know. Lin Yu interrupted him. Ordinary pills are harmful. Do you want to kill Sword Venerable? That elder was so frightened that he knelt down. Now, Sword Fanatic's identity was very clear. Jian Qian and Jian Chen were dead, so Sword Fanatic was the future leader of the sword race. And Sword Fanatic's relationship with Lin Yu was naturally extraordinary. They were not stupid. How would they dare to offend Lin Yu? Lin Yu looked helpless and blinked. Let me see if there are any medicinal herbs on these dead people. With that, he took away the storage rings of more than 20 elders and Jian Qian. The remaining 13 elders only felt that it was a little strange, but they couldn't say anything. Lin Yu looked anxious. He threw the storage rings on the ground. Of course, the items inside were all empty. Fortunately, I found some. As Lin Yu spoke, a large number of medicinal herbs flew out from the storage rings. The true sun fire appeared. The black flames, accompanied by the purest refining power, started melting all the medicinal herbs. The elders felt the terrifying heat of the true sun fire. It was much more terrifying than the yang aura of a transcendent realm. They couldn't help but be shocked. No wonder Jian Qian and Jian Chen couldn't kill this kid. The purest medicinal power flowed down and merged into Sword Venerable's body. As Sword Fanatic waited anxiously, Sword Venerable's complexion gradually eased, and he opened his eyes. You're from the medicine race? No, I just know a little about medicine. Sword Venerable smiled gently. Every generation brings forth new talents, and the new generation excels the old. You're not bad. Sword Venerable sat up straight. His gaze fell on Sword Fanatic, and it softened. Child. I'm sorry. As his voice fell, Sword Fanatic cried even more. From just now until now, she gradually understood the Sword Venerable's difficulty. He was an old man in his twilight years, an old man who had no one to rely on. Lin Yu didn't disturb them. Instead, he brought Yi Mingyue, Xiaobing, and the others out of the secret chamber. The remaining few elders naturally tactfully followed him out. But when they saw Lin Yu, they looked like they wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. Young Master Lin, the storage rings just now. The leader of the elders said hesitantly. Storage rings? What storage rings? Lin Yu was confused. Yes. The elders spread out their hands at the same time. When they left, they picked up the storage rings of the other elders and Jianqiun. Oh, these. Lin Yu pushed their hands back. These belong to the sword race. Elders, you're too polite. But, are they empty? Before the leading elder finished speaking, Lin Yu and the others had already walked far away. Young Master, you've gained a lot this time. Young Master is always the biggest winner. Jianchun, Jianqiun, the elders, all the opponents who were killed by Young Master this time have their storage rings in Young Master's hands. Keep a low profile. Lin Yu shushed them. He had always been a low-profile person. He especially liked to make a fortune in silence. News of the secret chamber quickly spread throughout the sword race. In fact, the battle's fluctuations had already shaken almost all the sword race's combat power. It was a pity that when they gathered in front of the secret chamber, the battle had already ended. Everyone was shocked by this battle, because Jianchen was dead and so was Jianqiun. Even the forces loyal to Jianqiun were uprooted overnight. During the day, Jianqiun was still the most powerful person in the sword race. However, after one night, Sword Venerable came out of seclusion and announced Sword Fanatic as the new successor of the sword race. He also announced Jianqiun's crime and cleared Jian Lingtian's name. However, the name they heard the most was the initiator of this great change in the sword race. Lin Yu. This name had already spread throughout the sword race. The remaining 13th elder and other members of the sword race had already spread the story of how Lin Yu defeated Jianqiun and his son. Chapter 129. Have you heard? Sword Maniac replaced Jianchen and became the first successor of the Sword Tribe. The man behind Sword Maniac is Lin Yu. As soon as Lin Yu woke up, he heard the rumors that were going around. Rumors stop with the wise. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Lu Wuhan was envious of Lin Yu. No matter where you go, whether it's the Hongmeng continent, the Wind Moon tribe, or the Sword tribe, Young Master is the center of attention. The strong are respected. The dragon-scaled man was a man of few words. I think this guy is especially good at dealing with women. The Wind Moon 5 fairies and Sword Maniac all listened to him. Yi Mingyue looked at Lin Yu reproachfully. What about you? Lin Yu looked over. Yi Mingyue blushed and lowered her head. Xiaobing, who was standing at the side, was stunned. Yi Mingyue was subdued by Lin Yu. She should speak less. She was sure that she was weaker than Yi Mingyue in front of Lin Yu. Young Master. Outside the courtyard, Sword Maniac's voice sounded. Behind her, there were 13 elders. Maniac, why did you bring so many people? Lu Wuhan blinked his eyes. The Sword Tribe had just suffered a heavy blow yesterday. Today, 13 elders were gathered. It was a little too big. Sword Maniac looked helpless and bowed apologetically. Elder Lu, please don't take offense. They are protecting me. Lu Wuhan finally understood. Sword Maniac was no longer the same as before. In terms of status, she was probably higher than Xiaobing in the Yao tribe. Elders, please wait for me here. Young Patriarch, do you want us to accompany you? The elders asked respectfully. Sword Maniac's beautiful eyes were filled with anger. With young master here, what are you worried about? The group of elders' faces twitched. They could tell from Sword Maniac's tone that she was more at ease with Lin Yu than anyone else. Sword Maniac went straight to Lin Yu and knelt down. I will never forget young master's kindness. This. The 13 elders jumped in fright. Sword Fanatic's current status was noble. How could he become the disciple of a brat who was still wet behind the ears? However, since Lin Yu was able to plot against Jian Qian yesterday, they naturally did not dare to openly stop him. Get up. Lin Yu helped Sword Maniac up. Young master. Sword Fanatic's bright eyes were filled with gratitude, but he quickly restrained his emotions. I've already asked grandfather about what I promised young master. He wants you to meet him. All right. The Sword Maniac was naturally talking about the 4 divine swords. The 4 divine swords were of great importance. Lin Yu could take other things, but the 4 divine swords had already been returned to the Sword Venerable by the Sword Fanatic yesterday. And Sword Revered wanting to meet Lin Yu was also within his expectations. With Sword Fanatic leading the way, Lin Yu went straight to Sword Venerable's palace. This was an even taller palace behind the 2 stone swords in the sky. It was also the residence of the true Sword Tribe Patriarch. Grandpa, young master is here. Sword Fanatic brought Lin Yu over. Sword Venerable, who was seated above, bowed and said. The other 13 elders did not dare to follow them in. All right. Sword Venerable turned around and walked down the hall. Clearly, he did not look down on them. This also showed the Sword Venerable's respect for Lin Yu. Young friend Lin Yu, how should I repay you for the Sword Tribe's great kindness? Lin Yu did not hide anything from Sword Venerable. I just need to borrow the 4 divine swords for a period of time. Can I ask a few more questions? Lin Yu nodded. Of course. Sword Venerable smiled happily and looked at Sword Fanatic. Child, you can leave first. I want to talk to young friend Lin Yu alone. Grandpa. Sword Fanatic looked at Lin Yu worriedly. Why? Do you think Grandpa will hurt your young master? Sword Fanatic immediately shook his head. Sword Venerable sighed softly. Even if Grandpa wants to hurt him, I'm afraid I might not be your young master's match. Don't you think so? This. Sword Fanatic hesitated for a moment. Then I'll go out. Sword Venerable's eyes were a little lonely. He looked at Lin Yu and laughed self-deprecatingly. As Grandpa, I'm not as important as young friend Lin Yu in Fanatic's heart. Family is family in the end. It's just that the time is short. Once you get along for a long time, family is still the most important. Sword Venerable was overjoyed. He smiled and said, It seems that young friend Lin Yu will agree to my request? Lin Yu did not interrupt him. I hope to keep Fanatic in the Sword Tribe and pass on my cultivation to her. Sword Venerable's eyes were filled with love and reluctance. I don't have much time left. Lin Yu cupped his fists and said, Of course. Sword Fanatic is still a descendant of the Sword Tribe. It's a pity that she wants to leave with you. Therefore, I'm very curious about young friend Lin Yu's purpose in coming to the southern border. My purpose is very simple. I want to participate in a fun game. Sword Venerable did not know why, but Lin Yu's words gave him an unfathomable feeling even though it was just an understatement. A dignified Sword Venerable actually had such feelings for a young man. Young friend Lin Yu, can you tell me more? Even if there are great changes in the southern border, Sword Venerable should have heard some clues. For example, the 9-headed Buddha Emperor was injured. Sword Venerable's face tensed up. It's something that happened many years ago. To be honest, young friend Lin Yu, I didn't verify this matter. I only heard some rumors. Sword Venerable said, As for the reason, young friend Lin Yu should know. But there's one thing that's really special. Sword Venerable, please tell me. 33 years ago, the Buddha Emperor collected corpses wantonly. Lin Yu smiled. He actually knew about this matter. Now that Sword Venerable told him, it could be considered that Sword Venerable wanted to repay him. This old man didn't have much time left. Lin Yu naturally couldn't interrupt him. Young friend Lin Yu, you seem to know something. I only heard about it, but I don't know the details. Sword Venerable nodded and continued. 33 years ago, the grave-carrying tribe, the Southern Baron tribe, and the Imperial Beast tribe passed down a decree from the Buddha Emperor to collect all the corpses in the southern border that were less than 47 days old. I felt that this matter was strange, but I didn't look into it. With the Buddha Emperor's decree and the 3 tribe leaders personally hosting the corpses collection ceremony, I remember that the 3 million corpses in the southern border were all gathered by the grave-carrying tribe. Lin Yu smiled. That might not be the Buddha Emperor's decree. Sword Venerable frowned and said, Young friend Lin Yu, why do you say that? No one dared to pass down a fake decree in the southern border. Because the southern border was the Buddha Emperor's world. It's a long story, but the so-called decree only contains a trace of the Buddha Emperor's Tao. Perhaps there's a way to fake it. Lin Yu continued to explain. The 9-headed Buddha Emperor isn't a murderous person. He's also the most benevolent of the 3 emperors in the legends. The great Tao that he cultivates counters the death qi of the corpses, isn't it? Sword Venerable couldn't refute. Lin Yu's words were extremely accurate. The Buddha Emperor cultivates the supreme power of Buddhism. He does need to avoid the death qi. This, Sword Venerable had suspected this before. However, the Emperor was a supreme existence in the star region. No one dared to guess or oppose the Emperor's actions. However, if what Lin Yu said was true, the decree was fake. Then the collection of corpses was even more likely to be fake. Chapter 130. Is Lin Yu's reason for borrowing the 4 sacred swords related to the Buddha Emperor? The Sword Venerable was old and cunning. He was not as stupid as Jian Qiun and Jian Chun. Sword Venerable, you are very smart. Of course, I am not sure about the Buddha Emperor's exact situation. I just want to prepare more trump cards. After all, the hidden danger in the south is about to erupt. The Sword Venerable laughed. To hear praise from a young man. For some reason, the Sword Venerable felt happy. The south. What happens in the future may have nothing to do with me. The Sword Venerable patted Lin Yu's shoulder. It will be the world of you young people in the future. I have something to ask. Please speak, Sword Venerable. Lin Yu is about the same age as Qi Er. What do you think of her? With Lin Yu's state of mind, how could he not understand what the Sword Venerable meant? He could not help but feel his cheeks twitch. The Sword Venerable felt the same, because both of them sensed that. Outside the hall, Sword Fanatic was eavesdropping. This was very troublesome. Lin Yu still has unfulfilled wishes in his heart. As for the matters between a man and a woman, I do not plan to do it so early. Please understand, Sword Venerable, Lin Yu said respectfully with his fists clasped. Not only did he have to give face to the old man who was still gloomy about losing his son, he also had to give face to Sword Fanatic, whose cheeks were burning but whose heart was racing as she eavesdropped. I understand. The Sword Venerable could see Lin Yu's ambition. If you achieve your wish in the future, please consider Qi Er. Soon, she will be the leader of the Sword Tribe. Lin Yu smiled. Lin Yu understands. He did not want to think about it for the time being. However, at this moment, Sword Fanatic felt a stab in her heart. Young Master did not reject or agree. Why does my heart hurt so much? Tears welled up in Sword Fanatic's eyes as she left quietly. Sigh. The Sword Venerable sighed softly. Of course, he couldn't have guessed that Lin Yu's perception was stronger than his. One last thing. Even if young friend Lin Yu has borrowed the 4 sacred swords, without the 4 sacred sword art, these swords will not be able to unleash their destructive power. Clearly, the sword maniac did not tell the Sword Venerable that his black tortoise sword art was inherited from Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu had once displayed the black tortoise sword technique in the sword race. Although this matter was suppressed because Jian Qiun and his son had been uprooted, the black tortoise sword technique had still not spread. But as time passed, someone would tell the Sword Sovereign. Sword Sovereign, don't worry. The 4 divine swords are not my final trump card. My trump card is the 4 swords 5 ultimate god-killing formation. God-killing array. Even with the Sword Sovereign's status and mental state, at this moment, his voice couldn't help but become hoarse as he looked at Lin Yu in shock. You? How do you know about the array that has been lost in the south for thousands of years? Lin Yu naturally wouldn't tell him that during the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he had once dug up the tomb of one of the ancestors in the south. From there, he had learned many secrets about the south in the past. One of them was the 4 swords 5 ultimate god-killing formation. Sword Sovereign, you don't need to know about this for the time being. The Sword Sovereign understood what Lin Yu meant and smiled awkwardly. Since young friend has such a powerful trump card, I am even more relieved. Humans should have secret. The Sword Sovereign had lived for so many years. Of course, he wouldn't be angry just because Lin Yu was unwilling to tell him the reason. The more powerful he was, the more he could ensure the safety of the sword race and the sword maniac in the future. The Sword Sovereign didn't think otherwise. Lin Yu was a young man worth befriending for a lifetime. He waved his right hand and the azure dragon, white tiger, black tortoise, and vermilion bird appeared. 4 rays of sword chi soared into the sky even without any sword cultivator activating them. When the 4 swords appeared at the same time, the entire clan leaders' hall was filled with a suffocating pressure. Of course, this pressure was only for ordinary people. The Sword Sovereign wasn't affected at all. However, he was more surprised that Lin Yu wasn't affected either. Young friend Lin Yu, your sword principle is already at the 3rd realm, right? Although he didn't see Lin Yu make a move. However, from Lin Yu's performance, the Sword Venerable could already guess what was going on. 3rd realm, perhaps. Lin Yu shrugged and prepared to take the black tortoise sword with his bare hands. Be careful, this sword can backfire on people outside the sword race. As soon as the Sword Sovereign finished speaking, he saw that Lin Yu had already put the 4 swords into his storage ring. What? Lin Yu blinked. Ahem, it's nothing. Young friend, help yourself. The Sword Sovereign smiled awkwardly. This kid is really not simple. After settling the matter in the south, I'll return it as soon as possible. No, there's no hurry. It's not suitable for you to activate the 4 sages' sword art at your current level. The Sword Sovereign chuckled. He thought to himself, it's best if you don't return it in your lifetime. It would make Lin Yu owe the sword race something. This was a long-term bond. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. He sighed in his heart. Only then did he realize that Jian Qiun was assigned to the Sword Sovereign's craftiness. As for Jian Lingtian, he was assigned to the Sword Sovereign's integrity. The 4 sages' sword fell into Lin Yu's hands. Lin Yu didn't stay any longer and bade farewell. After returning to his residence, he saw Xia Bing waiting for him. Young master, you're back? Yes. Lin Yu nodded. Xia Bing wanted to say something but stopped. She pursed her lips. Young master, Grandpa is seriously ill. I think. Lin Yu patted Xia Bing's head. You actually forgot about your grandpa. Xia Bing was flattered. She bowed and said, so young master also remembers Grandpa's illness? Of course. Xia Jing's granddaughter is with me. How can I stand by and do nothing about his illness? Hearing this, Xia Bing's fair face immediately blushed. Young master, be careful with your words. The words is with me made Xia Bing sensitive. Then let's set off for the medicine race. Lin Yu's casual words warmed Xia Bing's heart. She bowed and said, thank you, young master. After informing the others, Lin Yu returned to his room and saw the sword maniac. Young master, didn't you bring the 13th elder this time? The sword maniac shook her head. I came secretly. Are you leaving, young master? Her tone was filled with reluctance. Lin Yu knew that with the sword maniac's cute age, she couldn't restrain her passion like Qin Ji. Yes, go to the medicine race. I can carry out another plan. There was a deep look in Lin Yu's eyes. The sword maniac was a little fascinated. She had countless exciting experiences with Lin Yu. Every time, it was as if she was trapped. But under Lin Yu's strategy, she turned all misfortunes into blessings. This was the most shocking feeling the sword maniac had ever felt since she followed Lin Yu. This was also something she had never experienced before. The joy of cultivating and becoming stronger. I also want to go with young master. The sword maniac said what was in her heart. No. Lin Yu decisively refused. What you should do now is listen to your grandpa. For some reason, tears immediately fell from the sword maniac's eyes. Does young master hate me? Chapter 131. Lin Yu knew that this girl had fallen in love. But he was a single man who had no luck with women. He was helpless. I don't hate you, but you have more important things to do. Listen to me. I'll bring you to have fun in the future. Moreover, Jian Qiun and Jian Chen are your grandfather's descendants. You should accompany him more. There's something that he always wanted to leave for your father. It's also something that Jian Qiun dreamed of. But now it should be yours. Sword fanatic wiped her tears. Grandfather said that I'll inherit the position of patriarch in a while. Will you come back to see me? She thought that Lin Yu was talking about the position of patriarch, so she didn't hide anything. I should. Lin Yu asked about the time and answered. Sword fanatic knew that she couldn't follow Lin Yu. What he said was for her own good. So she pulled her sleeves and pressed her delicate body against him. Lin Yu almost bounced out. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Sword fanatic blushed and her heart raced. She hugged Lin Yu gently. Young master, I don't know about the matters between men and women, but I'm willing to become stronger for you. Sword fanatic gently gritted her teeth as she recalled the scene by the spring behind by Luo Shangqing Palace. She stood on her tiptoes and whispered in Lin Yu's ear, I'm willing to learn anything that young master likes. Calm down. A fragrant wind blew past his ear. Lin Yu was glad that his Dao heart was firm. Otherwise, he would have executed the future patriarch of the sword race on the spot. Little girl, you've learned bad things. Sword fanatic lowered her head. Young master, you must take care. With that, she didn't dare to look at Lin Yu again, and ran out of the room. Soon, the sword race prepared a top-grade warship. Sword Venerable personally gave the order. The remaining elders were still worried that Sword Venerable would settle the score with them, so they didn't dare to be negligent. However, there were still some ignorant ones who sought Sword Venerable for quick success. Patriarch, now that Lin Yu has left, this old man has something to say. Sword Venerable narrowed his eyes. He hated this kind of behavior. He only dared to say this after Lin Yu left. Clearly, this sort of backstabbing was a bad habit passed down by his unfilial son, Jian Qiun. Speak. The elder said righteously. Lin Yu, that brat, took everything from the storage rings of the elders and eldest sword master. He had originally admired his courage. But suddenly there was a loud boom. A sword chi struck the elder's abdomen. Patriarch, patriarch, I'm not lying. The elder spat out a mouthful of blood and knelt down with his head lowered. He thought that the Sword Venerable had misunderstood that he was framing Lin Yu. But as soon as he finished speaking, boom! The second sword chi was unleashed. The elder flew out of the hall. Patriarch, I really didn't lie. The elder struggled to get up. He didn't understand why he was beaten. Elder Chen, are you really not lying? Young patriarch. Only then did Elder Chen realize that he was done for. Why would Sword Maniac do that behind the hall? In the sword race, everyone knew that Sword Maniac came with Lin Yu. Now that he was impeaching Lin Yu, Sword Maniac actually heard it. Clan leader. Young clan leader. This old man lied. Elder Chun kowtowed desperately. This old man lied, this old man lied. Scram. The one who spoke wasn't Sword Maniac, but Sword Venerable. Elder Chun spat out blood and left. Sword Maniac bowed to Sword Venerable. Grandfather, young master didn't do it on purpose. Silly child. Sword Venerable sighed. The more you take, the better. You don't understand. Sword Maniac wanted to plead for Lin Yu because of this matter. But he didn't expect Sword Venerable's attitude to be so unexpected. Grandfather, shouldn't you be helping young master? Sword Venerable smiled. Lin Yu has the potential of an emperor. Child, the deeper your relationship with him, the better. The messier the better. Emperor. Are you saying that young master can become an existence on the level of the three emperors? Sword Maniac blinked and thought of something. Her cheeks flushed under her bright eyes. Grandfather, what are you talking about? Lin Yu's warship left the sword race's territory. Xia Bing followed behind and bowed. Thank you, young master. Lin Yu shook his head. You've said it many times. Xia Bing pursed her lips. She was really grateful to Lin Yu. Whether it was defeating the Biling sect in the inn, seizing the Sacred Heart Cauldron from the Wind-Moon Union, or even protecting her under Xia Zhan's slap, this young man's figure was deeply imprinted in her heart. Young master, after returning the Sacred Heart Cauldron, Xia Bing doesn't know what to do. Lin Yu knew what this girl meant. You're so thin-skinned. Lin Yu teased. Xia Bing lowered her head, blushed, and gritted her teeth. Young master, I want to follow you. Her heart raced. For a girl who had just fallen in love, this was a very shy thing. I heard that. Yi Mingyue's voice came from behind. Xia Bing's face turned even redder. Sister Mingyue. I hate you. What's there to hate? Yi Mingyue hooked Xia Bing's wrist. Young master didn't say you can't follow him. Isn't that right, young master? Yi Mingyue looked at Lin Yu teasingly. However, she thought to herself, this bad guy is really popular with girls. Sword Maniac had just separated, and Xia Bing had already expressed her feelings. However, Yi Mingyue gradually got over it. Unfortunately, Lin Yu was too outstanding. The pitiful Xia Bing didn't dare to look at Lin Yu from beginning to end, afraid that Lin Yu would reject her. However, Lin Yu sighed softly. I'm afraid the trip to the medicine race isn't that simple. Xia Bing's heart tightened. What do you mean, young master? Xia Jia lost in the sword race this time. I'm afraid he won't let you live. After all, we know about his past. Xia Bing frowned. Young master, let Xia Bing return to the medicine race alone. Yi Mingyue burst into laughter. She looked at Lin Yu with confidence. Bad guy, you must have an idea long ago. She could be considered the person who knew Lin Yu the best on this battleship. Of course, she didn't know that Lin Yu had also done a lot of research on her. Xia Bing looked at Lin Yu and Yi Mingyue in surprise. The latter explained, if young master can think of something, then you must have a solution. Lin Yu smiled helplessly. Yi Mingyue was a beauty, and she was one of the more interesting women when he was trapped. Except for some aspects. Also, this girl was smart. A smart woman would often give him a lot of points. Change into them. Lin Yu took out a few clothes from his storage ring. Clothes from the sword race? And female clothes. Seeing that the two women were confused, Lin Yu took out a few more tokens. Those female elders died yesterday. These are their clothes. As for the tokens, they are the elders of the sword race. Xia Bing, you don't have to change. Mingyue, change into them with Long Lin and Lu Wuhan. Yi Mingyue's bright eyes turned into crescents. Young master, you want us to pretend to be elders of the sword race? It's a temporary measure. Before I left, I asked the Sword Venerable about this matter, and he agreed. Lin Yu smiled. This was also the reason why the Sword Venerable beat Elder Chun up when he risked his life to advise him. Lin Yu had already assured the Sword Venerable. Chapter 132. It was to prevent the 13 elders from backstabbing him. In the past 100,000 years, he had also understood the character of these people. The two girls brought 2 sets of clothes and brought them back to the cabin for Long Lin and Lu Wuhan. Lin Yu stood alone at the bow of the ship. He didn't use those hidden teleportation arrays in the starry sky, but deliberately used the ordinary method to go to the Yao clan. At this moment, a figure had appeared in the sky above his warship. "You're here. You knew I would come? You know me, and I know you." Lin Yu smiled. The figure landed on the deck, but there was no aura. Even Long Lin and the others in the cabin didn't notice his appearance at all. "You're stronger than I thought." Lin Yu looked at the other party. It was a young man in a black robe, but he had a head of white hair. Under the black robe, the pupils in his eyes were vertical slits that didn't look human. "I want to become stronger to replace you." His voice was very hoarse. But if others heard it, they would definitely be shocked, because his voice was exactly the same as Lin Yu's. "You can't do it yet." Lin Yu took a step and appeared in front of the white-haired young man. Under the black robe, the face that was originally covered also appeared in front of Lin Yu because of the close distance. Even his appearance was exactly the same as Lin Yu's. "Can't do it?" The white-haired young man chuckled softly. Even his expression was exactly the same. The moment he chuckled, a bone-piercing cold air came towards Lin Yu. The entire huge warship was instantly enveloped in a layer of indestructible ice. Even Long Lin and the other 3 in the cabin were directly frozen the moment they sensed the danger. Only Lin Yu looked normal. The young man in white frowned. Why? With the cold air of the unyielding realm, he actually couldn't freeze Lin Yu, a 4-ignition wheel caster. Lin Yu didn't answer. "What's your name?" "Lin Xiu," the young man in white said. Lin Yu turned around, his back facing him. "If you're a bit stronger, you might be able to replace me." Lin Xiu was silent for a long time. "We'll meet again soon." Finally, he left. Everything on the warship, the ice, and Lin Xiu disappeared into the starry sky. It was as if nothing had happened. However, Long Lin and the other 3 appeared. "Young master, where is he?" Lu Wuhan immediately asked. That terrifying sense of crisis just now still left them with lingering fear. But now they were unable to feel anything. "Let's go." As soon as Lin Yu finished speaking, he felt a sweet taste in his throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Young master." The 2 girls immediately supported him. "Damn it, who is it?" Lu Wuhan and the others were furious. Yi Mingwe took out a handkerchief and helped Lin Yu wipe off the blood at the corner of his mouth. Lin Yu's eyes were filled with excitement. A very interesting and powerful opponent. He had to admit that Lin Xiu was very strong. From the moment Lin Yu searched Demon Lord Luoho's soul and used the time travel secret technique to enter the place where the heaven-reflecting mirror was, he had already sensed Lin Xiu's existence. That was something created by the heaven-reflecting mirror with his wisdom and the bloodline of the Demon Emperor. Lin Yu felt a sense of familiarity with Lin Xiu, as if he was his own shadow. But there was also a sense of repulsion. It was a sense of repulsion between natural enemies where it was either you die or I die. Young master, Lu Wuhan and the other 3 were scared silly by Lin Yu's appearance. It was their first time seeing Lin Yu like this. This made them even more certain that the person who appeared just now was definitely not someone they could deal with. In fact, Lin Yu didn't even have such a look in his eyes when facing 7 Yi Demon Emperor. Could it be that that person is even stronger than 7 Yi Demon Emperor? It's only a matter of time. Lin Yu sat cross-legged and an aura of a breakthrough appeared around him. The 4 of them instantly understood. But it was also at this moment that a tyrannical repulsive force erupted from a few dozen feet around Lin Yu. This repulsive force directly pushed the 4 of them in 4 directions. So strong! Young Master actually broke through after facing a powerful enemy. Could it be that Young Master's physique can become stronger the stronger he is? Lu Wuhan guessed. However, Long Lin's brows were tightly knitted. Old Long, what's wrong with you? Were you scared silly just now? Long Lin shook his head and looked at the starry sky solemnly. We have to grow up quickly too. Lu Wuhan understood and rarely argued with Long Lin. In this universe, the strong were respected. Even if they stayed by Lin Yu's side, once their strength couldn't keep up, they would only drag Lin Yu down in the end. For a moment, the four of them thought of the same thing. The atmosphere was solemn. The light of the breakthrough reached its peak and Lin Yu's aura broke through without any obstruction. Cultivation, 5 ignition wheel. The cyclone around Lin Yu was still there. The glory aura accumulated from the previous few cups of silver fish immortal dew was completely stimulated because of resisting Lin Xiu just now. There was a loud rumble. Lin Yu's breakthrough light reappeared. 2 consecutive levels. Long Lin and Lu Wuhan looked at each other. They were shocked. Lin Yu's breakthrough speed was too fast. Only Lin Yu knew that this was the result of his accumulation. Every battle, every absorption of power, he was accumulating his current strength. Boom! The light of the breakthrough finally dissipated. The powerful glory aura vortex slowly converged in Lin Yu's dantian. The 4 people only felt that although Lin Yu's cultivation was only at the samsara realm, but the total amount of glory aura seemed to be stronger than theirs. 6 ignition wheel cultivation. In Lin Yu's storage ring, the purple cauldron slowly rose into the air. After refining the 100,000 years of divine sense for so long, it was finally time to break through. This is the divine sense realm. Young Master's divine sense is also so strong. Xia Bing looked at the divine sense phantom behind Lin Yu in shock. It was using the purple cauldron as a container and was slowly rotating. That's a treasure! Yi Mingwei gasped. The purple cauldron gave her a feeling that surpassed any treasure she had seen before. Divine sense cultivation. Xia Bing frowned and suddenly remembered that Lin Yu could easily take her father's slap. The difference in cultivation led to a very small difference in physique. If they had the same physique, Lin Yu's cultivation would definitely not be able to take it. No, unless young Master's physique is also at the samsara realm. While Xia Bing was shocked, Yi Mingwei and the other 2 were also shocked. At this moment, 3 auras appeared around Lin Yu and turned into Lin Yu's appearance at the same time, floating in the air. Divine Sense Essence Qi, Physique Blood Qi, Cultivation Glory Aura. The realm of 3 elements as one, isn't this just a legendary realm? Long Lin and Lu Wuhan were in disbelief. They had only seen the realm of 3 elements as one in ancient books. However, it was extremely difficult to put it into practice. A person's talent is limited, and 3 different types of power are very likely to repel each other. Therefore, even if you can cultivate 2 elements at once, you'll be a genius. Lu Wuhan was the oldest among them and couldn't help but analyze. Chapter 133. Although this scoundrel is occasionally mischievous, his cultivation talent is truly terrifying. Yi Mingyue's voice fell. At the same time, Lin Yu's divine telekinesis had a breakthrough as well. 6 ignited cultivation base, 5 ignited battle physique, divine telekinesis. Lin Yu slowly opened his eyes. The 3 auras were absorbed into his body at the same time. He stretched his back. Why did you guys run so far away? The 4 of them twitched at the same time. They thought to themselves, it's your 3 essences in one that pushed them away. A few hours later, Lin Yu and the others arrived in the sky above the Yao clan. Below the warship was a mountain range formed by 17 mountains. This mountain range was different from the Sword clan's sharp metallic feel. Instead, ancient palaces stood in different locations on each of the Emerald Mountain ranges. Green smoke drifted out of the palaces from time to time. The moment they entered the sky above the Yao clan, Lin Yu and the others smelled the pill fragrance coming from the green smoke. The guards at the Yao clan's front gate immediately noticed the people on the warship. Report to the young clan leader that Xia Bing and Lin Yu are here. Yes, sir. Xia Jie paced back and forth in the Yao clan's main hall. Yesterday, he had been tricked by Lin Yu in front of the Sword Venerable. He had exposed the fact that he and Jian Qiun had killed Jian Lingtian back then. If that old man, the Sword Venerable, comes to the Yao clan to settle the score with me, damn it, I can't drag this out any longer. He looked behind him. How's your grandfather? It was Xia Kuangshan. The injuries from Xia Bing's attack had already healed. However, because of this, Xia Kuangshan's status in the Yao clan had dropped. He held a grudge against Xia Bing now. Grandfather can't hold on much longer. Xia Kuangshan reminded Xia Jie. Father, we have to make preparations. What preparations? The people from the branch. Xia Jie sneered. That trash Xia Zhan? Once your grandfather dies, the Yao clan will be mine. What can Xia Zhan do to me? Xia Kuangshan frowned. But if I don't get rid of Xia Bing, I can't take this lying down. You can only blame yourself for being useless. Xia Jie snorted coldly. You can't even beat Xia Bing? You're really making me proud. Xia Kuangshan looked aggrieved. That's all Lin Yu's trick. I don't believe that Xia Bing, that stinky girl, can use the Xiantian pure fire skill so exquisitely. Enough. Xia Jie interrupted him. I've raised you for so many years in vain. The pure fire Xiantian technique is one of the two unique techniques of our Yao clan. No matter how powerful Lin Yu is, there's no way he would know about this. How could he teach Xia Bing? You idiot. If Xia Bing comes back, you'd better be able to take him down with a justifiable reason. Otherwise, you won't be able to raise your head in the Yao clan in the future. Xia Kuangshan clenched his teeth as his killing intent toward Xia Bing soared. Although Xia Jie didn't believe him, Xia Kuangshan was certain that it was Lin Yu who said a few words to Xia Bing. That was why when he fought with Xia Bing, his cultivation method was limited in every way. There must be something wrong with that Lin Yu. Xia Kuangshan was confident that he could defeat Xia Bing the next time they met. However, he was extremely wary of Lin Yu. Why aren't you getting lost and cultivating? Xia Jie scolded. By the way, Xiao Hanyu and the others are dead. Deal with the Biling sect for me. If the rest of them reveal what happened in the past, I'll kill you. Yes, father. Xia Kuangshan swallowed his saliva. Xia Bing and that Lin Yu. He's the one who ruined my plan in the Sword Tribe. If I see him, I'll make you suffer so much that you'll wish you were dead. Xia Jie's eyes were vicious as he gritted his teeth. Just as Xia Kuangshan was about to leave, he saw the guards hurriedly running over. Young patriarch. Why are you panicking? Young Mistress Xia and Lin Yu are at the door. There's no door to hell. Good. Xia Jie took a step forward, and Xia Kuangshan followed closely behind. In another hall of the Yao clan, Xia Zhan's spies also received the news. Young mistress, did you bring the Sacred Heart Cauldron with you? Xia Zhan immediately asked the guard who came to report. After all, the Sacred Heart Cauldron was his biggest bargaining chip. With the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he would have the greatest merit in the Yao clan. I'm not sure, but Lin Yu is here too. After the battle at the Wind Moon Gathering, Lin Yu's name had spread throughout the 8 clans. Therefore, the guard recognized him immediately. Lin Yu, that troublesome kid. Xia Zhan left the hall without hesitation. However, when he arrived at the Yao clan's mountain gate, he saw that Xia Jie and his son were already there. Big brother, haha, Kuangshan is here too? Xia Jie sneered. Second brother, your daughter is really capable. She took the Sacred Heart Cauldron with Lin Yu, and now she dares to swagger back? He looked up and saw a huge warship descending from the sky. Big brother, you're exaggerating. Xia Bing is still a member of the Yao clan. She must be worried about her father's illness. She must have brought the Sacred Heart Cauldron back this time. That better be the case. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Xia Zhan nodded. He was cursing in his heart. However, he was still afraid. He knew that if Xia Bing did not bring back the Sacred Heart Cauldron this time, she would most likely die. At this moment, Xia Jie stepped into the air. Did the traitor of the Yao clan bring back the Sacred Heart Cauldron? On the warship, Xia Bing's pretty face darkened. She still remembered clearly how Xia Jie and Jian Qian admitted that they had wronged the sword fanatic's father. There were too many dirty things about this uncle that she did not know. Lin Yu smiled as he stepped into the air and landed on the warship. Long Lin and the other three followed closely behind. Lin Yu, you still have the guts to come to the Yao clan. Of course, Xia Kuangshan did not dare to fight Lin Yu alone. However, this was his territory. He was not afraid of Lin Yu at all. Why? Are you unhappy with me? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Then let's fight one-on-one. He knew these people's morals. Xia Kuangshan's face stiffened as if his Achilles' heel had been hit. Don't try to talk big. Men, take down Lin Yu. Xia Jie ordered. Lu Wuhan, Yi Mingwei, and Lu Wuhan took a step forward, and at the same time, 3 tokens appeared in front of them. Elder Lu Wuhan of the Sword Clan. Elder Yi Mingwei of the Sword Clan. Elder Long Lin of the Sword Clan. After the 3 of them spoke in unison, Lu Wuhan continued, I'm here to visit the Yao clan on the orders of the Sword Venerable. Xia Jie, Xia Zhan, and the others frowned at the same time. Weren't these people Lin Yu's previous followers? How did they suddenly become elders of the Sword Clan? What a joke! How can you be elders of the Sword Clan? Xia Kuangshan did not believe it at all. However, a token flew out from Lu Wuhan's hand. Xia Kuangshan caught it with his bare hands. He wanted to see what was going on. However, before his hand touched the token, he was injured by the sword energy on the token. How dare you hurt me? This is the Yao clan. How can a piece of trash like you question my sword clan's token? You can't even block the sword energy on the token. Get out of my way. Lu Wuhan snorted coldly, took back the token, and took another step forward. Chapter 134. There was sword chi on the token, but it had no effect on Lu Wuhan. However, once it left his hand, it would trigger the sword chi restriction on it. Why? Do you still want to see? Lu Wuhan went around Xia Kuangshan and raised the token at Xia Jie. Xia Jie's face turned ugly. Haha, they are indeed the elders of the sword tribe. He was also shocked. However, these 3 people were wearing the robes of the sword tribe's elders. The robes could be fake, but the tokens couldn't be. Xia Jie wanted to take them down directly to prevent Lin Yu from threatening to detonate the Sacred Heart Cauldron again. However, now that Lin Yu didn't use the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he couldn't do anything. The Sword Tribe and the Yao Tribe are both members of the 8 tribes. May I know why the elders are here? Lu Wuhan replied, We are responsible for escorting Miss Xia Bing back to the Yao tribe safely. Everyone's eyes fell on Xia Bing. They no longer looked down on her. Instead, there was more fear. Being escorted back by the 3 elders and Lin Yu was enough to show Xia Bing's status in the eyes of the Sword Tribe. Xia Bing was grateful for Lin Yu's arrangement. If it weren't for Lin Yu, she wouldn't have received such equal treatment. Father. Xia Bing bowed to Xia Zhan. Xia Zhan smiled in relief. Good, you are indeed my daughter. If it was before, Xia Bing would be very happy to receive Xia Zhan's affirmation. However, Xia Bing's expression was cold and detached as she casually nodded her head. Xia Zhan's heart tightened. This daughter seemed a little different. Xia Bing came back this time to send the Sacred Heart Cauldron back. She raised her hand and the Sacred Heart Cauldron that Lin Yu had given her in advance appeared in the air. Xia Bing didn't fight for anything. She had already given up on Xia Zhan. Therefore, the Sacred Heart Cauldron flew directly to Xia Jie. This. Xia Jie frowned and his heart tightened. He didn't know what Lin Yu was planning. He didn't care about Xia Bing's schemes. However, he was sure that Xia Bing was under Lin Yu's instructions. What? You don't want the Sacred Heart Cauldron anymore? Lu Wuhan raised his eyebrows. Of course, Xia Bing's return of the Sacred Heart Cauldron can be considered as making amends. Xia Jie checked the Sacred Heart Cauldron and found nothing strange. However, he had directly excluded Lin Yu and his group from the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Clearly, he did not want others to think that Lin Yu had done the Yao clan a favor. He emphasized that Xia Bing was trying to make up for her mistake. With just one sentence, he had killed the great merit of returning the Sacred Heart Cauldron to the Yao clan. Scheming and astute. Lu Wuhan cursed inwardly. He was also a little displeased that Xia Jie had gotten away with it so easily. However, Lu Wuhan was well aware of what kind of person Lin Yu was. All right, the Sacred Heart Cauldron has been delivered. Let's go. Lu Wuhan turned around and prepared to leave. Wait. Xia Jie's voice rang out. Please wait for a moment. It won't be too late to leave after the chief comes out. Xia Zhan narrowed his eyes. He knew what was on Xia Jie's mind. They did not dare to touch the elders of the Sword Clan to prevent a war between the 8 clans. However, if Xia Jie woke up Xia Zheng with the Sacred Heart Cauldron, Xia Jie might be able to personally take down Lin Yu and the others. In that case, Xia Jie would not get into trouble. Xia Zhan smiled and cupped his fists. Big brother, since the Sacred Heart Cauldron has returned, why don't you refine the pill? Xia Zhan cursed Xia Bing in his heart. This stinky girl actually gave the Sacred Heart Cauldron to Xia Jie. All the credit would have nothing to do with him. Then, second brother, please protect me so that I won't be disturbed. Although Xia Jie was unwilling to wake up Xia Zheng, it was best for him that the Sacred Heart Cauldron was destroyed by Xia Bing. However, he could not do so openly. Jian Qiun could be domineering in the Sword Clan after killing Jian Lingtian. However, he had not killed Xia Zhan yet. His every move would be seen through by his seemingly soft but vicious younger brother at any time. Guangshan, go get the heart blood. Yes. Summon the 7 elders. Under Xia Jie's command, the Sacred Heart Cauldron floated in the air and moved without any wind. Xia Jie sat cross-legged in the air and chanted a chant. The 9 suns' transcendent realms' glory chi continuously shot out and merged into the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Soon, the Sacred Heart Cauldron emitted a bright green radiance. At this moment, the 7 elders had already appeared. When they saw the Sacred Heart Cauldron, their eyes were filled with excitement. The number 1 alchemy cauldron in the southern border finally belongs to the Yao clan. Everyone, it's time. As Xia Jie's voice sounded, the 7 of them took out a piece of black charcoal from their storage rings and circulated their glory chi. 7 pieces of black charcoal flew below the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Creation immortal charcoal, burn. The 7 of them shouted in unison. At this moment, 7 transcendent realms yang qi converged, and the 7 pieces of creation immortal charcoal were ignited. Lu Wuhan and the others had just acted according to Lin Yu's order. However, when they saw the Yao clan's alchemy techniques, their hearts still tightened. The 8 clans of the southern border still have some foundation. He noticed that the flames of the 7 pieces of charcoal were red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple. 7 colors. The 7 colors were similar, but they were different. For a moment, the radiance on the Sacred Heart Cauldron reached its peak. Radiance shot out from the top and bottom, like a light pillar connecting the heavens and the earth. Xia Guangshan and the others also took all the ingredients for the Sacred Heart Pill, including the most important ingredient, the unresolvable realm expert's heartblood. Young master, thank you. Seeing that the Sacred Heart Pill was about to be refined, Xia Bing bowed towards Lin Yu gratefully. Do you feel indignant? Lin Yu was referring to the fact that if the Sacred Heart Pill was refined, Xia Jing would give all the credit to Xia Jie and his son. That also meant that Xia Bing had lost her last chance to compete with Xia Guangshan. The future of the Yao clan belonged to Xia Jie and Xia Guangshan. No, it's fine as long as my grandfather recovers. Lin Yu smiled gently, but your grandfather still needs you to recover. Xia Bing was confused. What do you mean? You'll know soon enough. Let Xia Jie have some fun for now. Lin Yu was also looking forward to it. If the heavens wanted to kill him, they would first make him mad. 4 hours later, the Sacred Heart Cauldron made a loud noise. Xia Jie and the 7 elders gritted their teeth at the same time. A 7-colored pill shot up from the Sacred Heart Cauldron. The Sacred Heart Pill. We did it! The 8 elders were excited. Xia Jie stepped into the air and clenched his hand into a claw. The Sacred Heart Pill appeared in his hand. Very good. The pill fragrance is strong and the pill rhythm is complete. He turned around and stepped into a palace behind him. Since he couldn't destroy the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he could rightfully claim the credit for refining the Sacred Heart Pill. It would make no difference to his status. No matter what, he was going to be the future patriarch of the Yao clan. 2 hours later, Xia Jie reappeared in high spirit. Everyone, I didn't let you down. The patriarch is awake. Xia Zhan's heart sank. As soon as he finished speaking, a shocking aura shot up from the palace. An old man slowly walked out of the palace. Chapter 135. He was dressed in white and had a head full of white hair. He looked about the same age as the venerable sword. The old man stepped into the air, and with every step he took, the space beneath his feet froze. It was as if he was stepping on ice. Greetings, Patriarch. Everyone from the Yao clan knelt down and shouted in unison. The old man looked down at everyone. After instructing Xia Guangshan and Xia Bing to go to the Wind Moon gathering, he fainted due to his illness. Now that he woke up, he already had a plan in mind. Xia Bing, Xia Guangshan, come forward. Hearing Xia Zheng's words, Xia Guangshan immediately stepped forward and pretended to be well-behaved. Grandfather, you've just recovered from your illness, so you should pay more attention to your rest. Good boy. Xia Jing nodded happily. I heard from your father that you and him should be credited for bringing back the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Shameless! It seems that Xia Jie put in a lot of good words for himself. Yi Mingyue and Lu Wuhan scolded in a low voice. Xia Bing's eyes dimmed, but she was already very happy that Xia Jing could wake up. However, Lin Yu's words just now gave her an ominous premonition. Xia Bing stepped forward and bowed. Xia Jing revealed a kind gaze. Bing you've lost weight. No, I'm fine. Xia Bing's eyes were filled with tears. Very good. She didn't dare to tell Xia Jing her grievances. Father, Xia Bing almost lost the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Fortunately, Guangshan and I were concerned about you and brought it back for you. Xia Jie bowed and looked as if he was begging for mercy for Xia Bing. Xia Bing is still too young. Although she made a lot of mistakes this time, I hope father won't punish her too heavily. Xia Jie glanced back at Xia Zhan. Right, second brother? No one in the Yao clan dared to oppose Xia Jie's words. They were all aware that the credit for refining the Sacred Heart Pill and saving Xia Jing had fallen on Xia Jie's shoulders. This Xia Bing was wrong. Xia Zhan cursed in his heart. Xia Jie was now in power, but he didn't expect that he would take the opportunity to suppress them so soon. Young master, let's take Bing away. Yi Mingyue couldn't bear it. Along the way, she and Xia Bing had built a good relationship. At this moment, seeing that Xia Bing's credit was taken away, her father did not want to protect her at all. This made Yi Mingyue and the others feel aggrieved. Binger, is what your father and uncle said true? Xia Jing's eyes fell on Xia Bing. This young girl was all alone at this moment. Because of her weakness, she had to endure the feeling of being abandoned by her friends and family. Clan head Xia, have you really recovered? Suddenly, Lin Yu smiled from afar. He interrupted Xia Zheng's question. Nonsense. With my sacred heart pill, my father has already recovered. Xia Jie said furiously. Who is this person? Xia Zheng's gaze fell on Lin Yu, and he suddenly felt a little surprised. Lin Yu's eyes were filled with incomparable determination and sincerity. That was a Dao heart that was even more powerful than his. Father, this person is called Lin Yu. Is he the one who colluded with Xia Bing to steal the Sacred Heart Cauldron? After hearing Xia Jie's words, Xia Jing frowned. Is it true? His voice fell. In an instant, the members of the Yao clan surrounded Lin Yu. He became the target of public criticism. Father, Lin Yu and the 3 people beside him have the Sword Tribe's elder token. I think this matter must have something to do with the Sword Honorable. Xia Jie continued to sow discord. No, it was young master who stole the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Xia Bing immediately wanted to defend Lin Yu. She could be wronged, but she didn't want Lin Yu to be wronged. That's right. Everyone saw Lin Yu taking a step forward with a fearless look. It's true. Come and bite me, old man. Boom. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Even Xia Bing, Long Lin, and the others didn't know what Lin Yu was up to. How dare you? Take him down. Xia Jie ordered. The members of the Yao clan approached Lin Yu, only to see Lin Yu smirking. The 4 sacred swords flew out and formed a powerful sword aura that surrounded the 4 of them. Azure Dragon Sword. White Tiger. 4 sacred swords. Damn it. Isn't that the Sword Tribe's guardian divine sword? Lin Yu provoked again. No one dares to come forward? The sharp sword aura formed a storm. Even though Lin Yu didn't move, he was like the king of swords with the 4 sacred swords stabbed into the ground. None of the members of the Yao clan dared to step forward. Even Xia Jie and Xia Zhan had ugly expressions on their faces. They couldn't touch Lin Yu? As expected, the members of the Yao clan are all cowards, just like you. Lin Yu's gaze landed on Xia Jing. Junior, I don't know why you're carrying the Sword Tribe's guardian divine sword. However, you won't be leaving the Yao clan today. Xia Jing's face was red with anger. He took a step forward, and a chilling aura descended from the sky. Clan leader, they're about to attack. Dodge. Dodge. An invincible realm expert was the strongest expert below the 3 sovereigns. If their battle affected the Transcendent Realm and Samsara Realm experts, they wouldn't even know how they died. Xia Jie smirked. Xia Jing could kill Lin Yu personally. This was the best outcome. Once Lin Yu died, he and Xia Bing's crimes would be confirmed forever. Grandpa, no. Xia Bing blocked Lin Yu's sword aura storm. Move aside, Binger. If he's really someone you brought back, you'll be punished too. Xia Bing didn't listen to him at all. However, the moment Xia Jing took a step forward, everyone saw the chilling aura in the air being swept away. It instantly returned to Xia Jing's body like a whirlpool. How can this be? Xia Jing's eyes widened. He felt a knot in his heart, and a bloody taste came from his throat. Under everyone's gaze, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Clan leader. Damn it. Didn't the clan leader recover? Xia Jing's body trembled as he stared at Xia Jie. There's something wrong with the Sacred Heart pill. Xia Jie's heart tightened. He immediately stepped forward, but Xia Jing's right hand flung him away, and he retreated a few steps. It's over. Xia Jing's aura was weak. Unfilial son, what did you do? Xia Jing stared at Xia Jie. He was the clan leader of the medicine clan. His alchemy skills were much better than Xia Jie's. How could he not know where the problem was? It's me, father. Xia Jie's eyes turned, and a chill ran down his spine. He was arrogant just a moment ago, but now, his merit had turned into a huge crime. On the contrary, Xia Jing's injuries seemed to have worsened. Xia Jie, You should know where the invincible heart blood came from, right? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Xia Jie was stunned. Bastard, where did it come from? Xia Zheng's voice sounded. Xia Jie immediately fell to his knees. Father, the Nangong clan bought it. The blood belongs to the Nangong clan's clan leader, Nangong Yin. Damn it. After being pointed out by Lin Yu, Xia Jie immediately knew that the problem with the Sacred Heart pill lay in the blood essence. Nangong Yin. He wants to harm me. Xia Jing gritted his teeth and spat out another mouthful of blood. Upon seeing this, Lin Yu put away the 4 sacred swords. There was no need for him to do anything. The medicine clan was now in big trouble. Chapter 136. Xia Jie and his son fell to their knees, their bodies trembling. Xia Zheng's aura was weakening at this moment. Grandpa! Xia Bing moved gracefully and appeared beside Xia Zheng. Xia Bing's eyes were filled with tears. Xia Zheng understood what was going on. At this moment, only his granddaughter could help him up. Grandpa, I'll go look for heart blood and refine another sacred heart pill. There's no time. Xia Zheng shook his head. Refining the pill will take at least 6 hours. Besides, the heart blood of other invincible experts. Cough. Xia Zheng spat out a third mouthful of blood. In an instant, his face was as pale as a sheet. He knew very well that he could not hold on for 4 hours. 4 hours was not even enough to refine the pill, let alone find heart blood. Xia Zhan's eyes moved as he pointed at Xia Jie and cursed. Brother, you want to harm father? Damn it! What nonsense are you talking about? Xia Jie's heart skipped a beat. He did not expect Xia Zhan to kick him while he was down. Everyone's gaze fell on him. Xia Jie thought for a moment and said, This still needs to be investigated. What are you doing? Take down Xia Jie and his son. Xia Zheng's voice rang out. In an instant, the 7 elders suppressed Xia Zheng. Damn it! Old thing, I'm the medicine clan's clan leader. How dare you touch me? Xia Jie was furious, but the 7 clan leaders were only loyal to Xia Zheng. Xia Zheng held Xia Bing's hand. Child, you didn't steal the sacred heart cauldron. You didn't harm me, right? Xia Bing was still sobbing uncontrollably because she suddenly felt that Xia Zheng's hand was as cold as ice. No, I didn't. Xia Bing quickly shook her head. All right. Xia Zheng smiled. With his last breath, he said, 7 great elders, after I die, please assist Xia Bing and assume the position of patriarch. The 7 elders looked at each other and immediately knelt to accept the order. Xia Jie, who was suppressed, was shocked. The position of clan leader that he had been working so hard for fell into Xia Bing's hands at this moment? No, old thing, you're crazy. Xia Bing is nothing. Even Xia Guangshan cursed. Suddenly, a slap landed on Xia Guangshan's face. It was Lin Yu. Damn it, Lin Yu. Xia Guangshan glared at Lin Yu. Now that he thought about it, it was all because of Lin Yu that he went from heaven to hell. He had infuriated Xia Zheng, causing the hidden danger of the Sacred Heart pill to erupt. That was what had led to the current situation. Die for me. Xia Guangshan wanted to kill Lin Yu as his heavenly flame technique erupted. Take him down. Xia Bing's cold voice sounded. One of the 7 elders immediately appeared in front of Xia Guangshan. There was no need for Lin Yu to make a move. Xia Guangshan was already immobilized. Whoever dares to touch young master again will die. In the past, only the servants would listen to Xia Bing's words. But now, she was representing the Yao clan's clan chief. Grandpa, very good. Xia Jing heaved a sigh of relief. He had always known about Xia Bing's tenacity. All right, let's not waste any more time. Lin Yu had already walked to the side of the Sacred Heart cauldron. 7 elders, do you still have the herbs to refine the Sacred Heart pill? The 7 of them were stunned. We do, but the catalyst. Lin Yu swiped his storage ring, and a drop of golden blood floated out. The moment the golden blood appeared, a strong storm of light qi formed around Lin Yu. Heart blood, unyielding heart blood. Xia Bing's pupils dilated. Lin Yu was holding great venerable Shumi's heart blood. But the original heart blood was 1,000 times denser than this drop. Now, Lin Yu was holding a drop of diluted mixed blood. It was something that Lin Yu didn't care about, but it was more than enough to refine the sacred heart pill. Xia Bing, I'll help. You refine the pill. Grandpa, wait for me here. Xia Bing's eyes rekindled with hope. Now, Lin Yu was like the savior of the Yao clan, reflected in everyone's eyes. Yi Mingwei and the others instantly understood. Everything is as young master expected. The 7 elders handed over the herbs. Lin Yu raised his hand and mixed the essence blood into the herbs. Xia Bing stepped into the air and merged her light qi into the sacred heart cauldron. The cauldron shone brightly. The 7 elders wanted to help, but Xia Bing stopped them. With young master here, it's enough. Xia Bing listened to Lin Yu completely. Lin Yu meant that he only needed to help. As expected, the true sun fire covered the sky and swallowed the sacred heart cauldron. This is crazy. The 7 elders' hearts tightened, and worry appeared on their old faces. No, burning the entire cauldron so violently will definitely damage the herbs. It can't be refined, it can't be refined. Only Xia Zheng stared at the sacred heart cauldron with heavy eyelid. This is great venerable Shumi's flames. Inside the sacred heart cauldron, the herbs melted under the black fire. Xia Bing focused on controlling the herbs and gathering them with the essence blood as the center. Faster, faster. Xia Bing gritted her teeth and burned her cultivation in exchange for faster fusion. However, the 7 elders were the most surprised at this moment was Lin Yu. How long did he take to refine all the herbs? That medicinal power is incomparably pure, but he only used an hour. No wonder the patriarch didn't let us do it. Lin Yu's refining speed is faster than the 7 of us combined. The 7 grand elders were all shocked. Impossible, he can't refine it. Xia Jie gritted his teeth. If Lin Yu and Xia Bing refined the sacred heart cauldron, he would be done for. In less than 2 hours, the sacred heart cauldron let out a shocking roar. A pill that shone brighter than before shot into the sky. This time, it wasn't Xia Jie who received the pill, but Xia Bing. Young master, it's done. Go. Lin Yu nodded, and Xia Bing immediately landed next to Xia Zheng. Even with Xia Zheng's status, he was stunned as he stared at the pill in Xia Bing's hand. Colorless pill. Great, there's actually such an expert in alchemy in the southern land other than the Yao clan. Others might not be able to tell, but how could Xia Zheng not know? Lin Yu seemed to be just a support pill, but his effect was even greater than Xia Bing's. Xia Zheng swallowed the pill without hesitation. Instantly, vitality erupted from his body and surged into his organs. Xia Zheng's originally pale face regained some color at this moment. Xia Bing turned around and knelt down in front of Lin Yu. Thank you, young master. It was a miracle that Xia Zheng could get better. And this miracle was created by Lin Yu. As expected of young master. I'm afraid Xia Bing won't be interested in other men for the rest of her life. Lu Wuhan and Yi Mingyue spoke one after another. Lin Yu shrugged. He only needed to achieve his goal. As for whether Xia Bing had feelings for him, it didn't matter to a guy like him who didn't have good luck with women. Xia Zheng exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and clawed at Xia Jie. A powerful surge of obsidian energy swept over, and Xia Jie was sent flying. Slap! A loud slap landed on Xia Jie's face. Chapter 137. Put Xia Jie and his son in jail and never let them out. Xia Zheng remembered clearly how his 2 unfilial descendants treated him just now. Father, father, you've really recovered. Xia Zhan quickly tried to curry favor with him. Everyone could see Xia Zheng's current state. He was completely different from the fake core formation cultivator from before. You should reflect on yourself, Xiaojing said coldly. Father, I didn't do anything wrong. Xiaozhan was confused. Xiaojing patted Xiaobing's arm. Bing was wrong just now, but as her father, you chose to hit her when she's down. What's the use of having a father like you? Xiaozhan was speechless. Xiaojing was such an upright and plain-spoken person. But Xiaozhan didn't expect that no action could escape Xiaojing's sharp eyes. Xiaozhan was taken away, and the farce here finally subsided. Lin Yu was arranged to stay in the honorable guest hall by Xiaobing. After Xiaobing dealt with some trivial matters, Xiaojing came personally. Yi Mingwei and the others also took their leave. After all, this was a southern border clan leader. It was inconvenient for them to be present when he talked to Lin Yu. Xiaojing's life was saved by little brother Lin. Xiaojing was simple and direct. How would you like the medicine clan to repay you, brother Lin? Lin Yu liked this kind of straightforward conversation. The 8 clans of the southern border are in turmoil, and the Buddha Emperor has been missing for 33 years. I think clan leader Xia should know about this, right? Xiaojing frowned. Little brother Lin, you've helped the medicine clan, so I won't hide it. The southern border is indeed in turmoil now. Lin Yu smiled and continued. Then, clan leader Xia should know where the Buddha Emperor is, right? Xiaojing's expression was solemn. He couldn't tell Lin Yu about this. Clan leader Xia, you don't want to tell me where the Buddha Emperor is. Actually, I already know where he is. Lin Yu changed the topic. I only hope that if the 8 clans of the southern border are at war, clan leader Xia will choose the right side. Of course. Xiaojing was even more shocked by Lin Yu. In the beginning, it was only because of his Pill Dao and grandson Truefire. But now, he was even more surprised by what Lin Yu knew. Xiaojing has always been on the Buddha Emperor's side. Lin Yu nodded his head. That's great. As for the repayment that clan head Xia mentioned, Lin Yu would like to borrow the strength of the Yao clan when the Great War starts. Xiaojing looked troubled. Lin Yu added, Don't worry, clan head Xia. Lin Yu is the same as you, standing on the Buddha Emperor's side. Xiaojing felt relieved. Little brother, you might not be able to participate in the war of the 8 clans with your current strength. Why don't you stay in the Yao clan for a while? Lin Yu smiled. Lin Yu and clan leader Yao Gu still have a small agreement, so I won't stay any longer. Xiaojing's promise and Xiaobing's current identity. Lin Yu had already obtained the assistance of the Yao clan. The Sword clan and Yao clan were now his forces. Next, Lin Yu bade farewell to Xiaobing and headed directly to the Wind Moon clan. At the back of the Wind Moon restaurant, when Lin Yu and the rest stepped into the Wind Moon clan's territory, the 4 immortals of Qin, Qi, calligraphy, and painting were already waiting there. Only people like Lin Yu or the young lady riding a Kuan would be welcomed by the 4 immortals of Qin, Qi, calligraphy, and painting. Young Master Lin's name has spread throughout the southern border again. Qin immortal Shi Yu bowed to welcome him. Ever since Lin Yu saw Lin Xiu, he knew that he had to move faster. He was now gathering the strength of the 8 clans, but he knew that Lin Xiu was there too. Where is clan leader Yao Gu? Elder sister is already waiting at the headquarters. Lin Yu went straight in. This time there was no world like chess and no big dream. The 4 immortals of Qin, Qi, calligraphy, and painting were even more fearful of this young man because of Yao Ji's evaluation of Lin Yu. Young master is getting more and more powerful. Lu Wuhan chuckled. Tian Xen's beautiful eyes flashed. Why, do you want to try the silver fish immortal do? Lu Wuhan's face twitched. He embarrassed himself here last time. Humph. Now that he was mentioned, Lu Wuhan closed his eyes and didn't say anything. He hoped that others couldn't see his embarrassment. Lin Yu stepped over the ancient bridge and saw that Yao Ji's door was already open. Did young Master Lin's trip go smoothly? Yao Ji's lazy voice sounded. Lin Yu came forward and saw a woman in a red tulle dress, revealing her slender white legs, lying sideways on the soft couch. The Wind Moon clan is known for their intelligence, and should know better than Lin Yu. Yao Gu wasn't angry because of Lin Yu's words. Of course she knew that with a character like Lin Yu, he already knew the Wind Moon clan very well. Young Master is now the great benefactor of the Yao clan and Sword clan. I'm afraid no one else in the 8 clans can be like Young Master. Yuenga held the wine jug in her hand, and as she drank, the wine flowed down her small mouth, across her thin chin, and dripped into the bottomless ravine. If it was an ordinary man, he would have died by now. Young Master, if you stomp your feet now, the 8 clans will be shaken. I didn't expect you to be willing to come to my small Wind Moon clan. Yao Ji's words were from the bottom of her heart. In a short period of time, the information she received about Lin Yu had repeatedly shocked her. Yao Gu stood up and slid her fingers down Lin Yu's shoulder. Young Master Lin, don't you want to drink with me? Looking at Yao Ji's slightly tipsy face. Lin Yu couldn't help but recall that in the 100,000 years he was trapped, he had used all kinds of methods, both soft and hard, to trick Yao Gu into having sex for the first time. Later on, Lin Yu had tried every time. This woman had a special skill that fascinated him during that time. Thinking of this, Lin Yu grabbed Yao Ji's slim waist and pulled her close to him. The latter's expression changed slightly. Young Master Lin, you're so rough. Don't you like rough people? Lin Yu smiled teasingly. Yao Gu suddenly felt that Lin Yu saw through her completely. She had only wanted to tease the most famous person in the southern border on a whim. But now, her heart was in a mess. Lin Yu's hand slid down her back. Young Master, wait. Yao Gu cried out in pain and immediately distanced herself from Lin Yu. Lin Yu's hand missed. He smiled faintly. Let's talk about serious matters, clan leader Yao Gu. He purposely said the word clan leader. Yao Gu came back to her senses. However, the blush on her cheeks didn't fade. Young Master Lin, I can't agree to the 33 levels of heaven. Lin Yu smiled. I want something else. What is it? Yao Gu frowned. Lin Yu swiped his storage ring, and sword energy shot into the sky. The 4 sacred swords coiled around him. Yao Ji's eyes widened. She had heard that Lin Yu had displayed the 4 sacred swords in the Yao clan. However, they were the most precious treasures of the Sword clan. Why was the black tortoise sword in Lin Yu's hands? Even the other 3 swords were in his hands. Chapter 138. What do you mean, young master? Fear appeared in Yuenga's eyes. Lin Yu wasn't like Jianchen. Even if he had the Azure Dragon Sword, he didn't know the Azure Dragon Sword art and couldn't unleash its true power. Yuenga could clearly feel that the 4 divine swords were emitting a low roar. Clearly, Lin Yu could perfectly control them. Once they unleashed their full power, even she might not be his match. Don't misunderstand. I'm not threatening you. Lin Yu smiled innocently. He had a harmless look on his face. But Yuenga knew that this guy wasn't easy to deal with. In a short time, he had already used both the carrot and the stick against her. And the effect was quite good. Young master, just say it. Lin Yu nodded. What I mean is, I want to borrow the 5 beauties of wind and moon for a while. Yuenga was smart. When she saw the 4 divine swords and thought about Lin Yu's words, she was shocked. Young master, are you trying to do something interesting? Lin Yu knew that she was asking the obvious, so he stepped forward. Under the pressure of the 4 divine swords, Yuenga sensed that her escape route was blocked by sword chi. She had no choice but to let Lin Yu come closer. Aren't you just something interesting? I am. Yuenga paused. There was a trap in this sentence. If she objected, wouldn't she be calling herself a good-for-nothing? Young Master Lin, you've only seen me twice. How would you know that I'm interesting? Yuenga turned her head away. Her heart was pounding. She didn't understand. She didn't know if Lin Yu had matured yet. but he was still able to move her heart at every turn. Yuenga's expression turned serious. She wanted to fight Lin Yu again. Otherwise, she would lose face as the leader of the Wind and Moon clan if she lost to Lin Yu in every way. If you're thin-skinned, don't play with fire. Lin Yu suddenly whispered into her ear. He knew that this woman didn't know anything about the relationship between men and women. Yuenga glared at Lin Yu. The latter coughed softly. I said we're talking business. Clan leader Yuenga, please control yourself. Before Xiang Gu could refute him, she had already restrained herself. You were the one who touched me. However, Lin Yu interrupted her. The war of the 8 clans is imminent. The Tomb Bearers, the Beast Tamers, the Southern Barbarians, and the Nangong clan have probably joined the undercurrent in the south. Lin Yu suddenly became serious, which made Yao Ji's body dry up. How did young master know all this? She did not hide it as she had done before. The Wind Moon clan received the information, but she was very surprised as to how Lin Yu received the information. If we want to fight against the existence in the dark, we need the other 4 clans and the Buddha Emperor to work together. Otherwise, the day the South changes hands will be the day the other 4 clans are destroyed. Lin Yu's tone was calm. But Yao Gu could hear the urgency in his voice. Young master wants to be the master of the 4 races alliance? Yao Gu asked in surprise. This was something that was almost impossible in the past. Why not? Lin Yu's eyes were full of confidence. The Medicine Clan and the Sword Clan are already under my control, aren't they? He raised his right hand and lifted Yao Ji's thin chin. The Wind Moon Clan will be there soon. No one dared to say this in front of the Wind Moon clan leader. It was no different from seizing power and rebelling. However, when Lin Yu said it, Yao Gu could not even refute. Young master, do you know when the undercurrent will erupt? She wanted to know how much time the Wind Moon clan had to prepare. At any time. Lin Yu smiled. They are not sure if the Buddha Emperor is in the hall. Once they are sure, it will be war. Yao Ji's heart tightened. Young master, how do you know? The Buddha Emperor's whereabouts were very important. You only need to know that I can protect the Wind Moon clan to survive this disaster. Yao Gu stared into his eyes. Finally, she exhaled a breath of fragrance. She compromised and said, I can lend you the 5 beauties of Wind Moon. Young master, you already know about the 4 swords 5 beauties god-killing formation, right? I know a little. Lin Yu answered humbly. Yao Gu smiled helplessly. This is the purest pot of drunken life. She took out a brocade box from her storage ring. Unlike the other wine jugs, this wine jug was naturally extraordinary when placed in the brocade box. As for the other 4, they are still with my 4 sisters. I need to summon them. Yao Gu looked at Lin Yu uneasily. Young master, please don't lie to me. Handing over the Wind Moon 5 absolutes was like handing the Wind Moon clan's lifeline to Lin Yu. However, with Lin Yu's ability, Yao Gu had no choice but to hand over the 5 absolute. Please wait, young master. Yao Gu wanted to summon the 4 immortals, but suddenly, 3 people in purple appeared outside the door. Greetings, clan leader. The 3 people half knelt. However, when they saw Lin Yu, their eyes became serious. They covered their faces, so their faces could not be seen clearly. However, it was not hard to tell from their figures that they were 3 women. The Wind Moon secret emissary has a good figure. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yao Gu frowned. She felt like all her secrets had been seen through by Lin Yu, which made her feel very confused. Speak, young master is not an outsider. The 3 people were surprised. This was the first time they saw a man in the Wind Moon clan's headquarters. The Wind Moon secret emissary in the middle said, The Buddhist Hall has invited us to participate in the Hidden Ape meeting. Yao Gu did not understand. What Hidden Ape meeting? Another secret emissary said, I heard that an unbreakable realm ape appeared in the Buddhist Hall a while ago. This ape seems to be an ownerless beast. The Buddhist hall wanted to subdue it. An unbreakable realm ape. Yao Gu frowned. Such a powerful beast had never appeared in the southern border. The last time she saw an unbreakable realm beast, it was the Kuanping riding the Kuanping girl. Only Lin Yu blinked. He did not know what the little monkey had done. The secret emissary continued. The ape held a stick and smashed it at the entrance of the Buddhist hall. When the people of the Buddhist hall tried to catch it, they were all pushed back by the stick. There were many casualties. Yao Gu smiled helplessly. Something happened to the Buddha Emperor. The Buddhist hall clan, which was known as the strongest of the 8 clans, could not even take care of a monkey? The secret emissary seemed to know what Yao Gu was thinking. He explained, that stick can be long or short, big or small. When the ape swung it, heaven and earth cracked. Now the stick is stuck at the entrance of the Buddhist hall, but it seems that only the ape can use it. The people of the Buddhist hall have tried many methods, but they could not move the stick. Yao Gu felt that things were not simple. Where is the ape? The 3 of them looked at each other. The leader said, the ape is sleeping on the stick. The Buddhist hall has no choice, so they gathered the Imperial Beast clan, Nangong clan, Southern Wilderness, and our Wind Moon clan to gather at the Buddhist hall tomorrow. Yao Gu finally understood the reason. It turned out that the Buddhist hall was looking for the nearby clans to help them fight the ape. Don't bother about this, Yao Gu said calmly. She was still thinking about gathering the 4 immortals and agreeing to Lin Yu's request. No. Lin Yu interrupted her. Clan leader Yao Gu, can Lin Yu represent the Wind Moon clan to go to the Buddhist hall? Chapter 139. Of course, he didn't elaborate on his relationship with the little monkey. That monkey has the strength of the invincible realm. I might be able to subdue it. Yao Gu was surprised. Are you confident? She thought to herself, how could an invincible realm beast be subdued so easily? I can always give it a try. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yao Gu didn't know what Lin Yu was up to. She thought to herself, what if this kid runs away with the 5 beauties of wind and moon? In that case, I'll have the 4 immortals accompany young Master Lin to the temple. Yao Ji's eyes turned. She had already given the order. Lin Yu didn't mind. He went with the flow and said, then my 3 friends will stay in the Wind Moon clan for the time being. 33 levels of heaven. Clan leader Yao Gu, please make arrangements for them. Yao Gu was unhappy at first. Why are you so nice to your people? But Lin Yu said, perhaps clan leader Yao Gu can comprehend the secret of breaking through to the invincible realm from my 3 friends. What? Yao Gu was confused. But Lin Yu didn't explain. In the blink of an eye, he had already found the 4 immortals and boarded the ship together. Shi Yu is very happy that young Master Lin can bring us along. Shi Yu said obediently. Among the 4 immortals, you're the most understanding. Lin Yu smiled faintly. The other 3 immortals looked at each other. They remembered Yao Ji's instructions before she left. Young Master, let's go and return quickly. The warship left the Wind Moon clan. Yi Mingyue and the other 2 looked reluctant. But Lin Yu had already arranged the best things for them. In front of the 3 of them was a pot full of 33 levels of heaven. Young Master said that this thing can greatly increase one's cultivation. Old Lu cheers. On the warship, Lin Yu was happy. With the 4 immortals accompanying me, Lin Yu is still a little shy. The 4 immortals didn't believe him. They didn't think that this guy was shy. Young Master Lin is a top genius of the southern border. I heard that Jian Chun and Jian Qian both died at your hand. Shi Yu asked curiously. Don't spout nonsense. I have a good relationship with the sword race. Lin Yu glanced at her. But how did Jian Chun and Jian Qian die? Suicide. The 4 immortals were stunned. I don't believe you. Tian Xan who was standing at the side, was still unwilling to give up. Young Master, I heard that the young clan leader of the Yao clan, Xia Jie, had concocted a fake Sacred Heart pill and almost poisoned the Yao clan leader to death. That's true. That guy skimps on materials. The pills he refines will definitely not be good. Lin Yu ate the fresh fruit. Although the four women had heard of Lin Yu's great achievements, they had never heard of him before. However, hearing about it and Lin Yu himself were two completely different experiences. Young master, then how are you able to use the Four Sages' sword art of the sword race? Su Feng looked over curiously. She remembered that Lin Yu was even better at using the black tortoise sword than Jian Chen at the Wind Moon gathering. About this, Lin Yu wanted to say something but stopped. This made the four women's moods fluctuate. Su Feng sat beside Lin Yu. She was wearing a tight-fitting long robe that outlined her stunning curve. She immediately understood and peeled a fresh fruit. Lin Yu opened his mouth. Su Feng pursed her lips. She had never served a man like this in her life. However, she remembered Yao Ji's instructions. Other than bringing Lin Yu back to the Wind Moon clan, the four immortals also had to try their best to find out Lin Yu's secret. Sucking on Su Feng's jade finger, Lin Yu tasted the fresh fruit and rested his head on his hands. The Four Sages' sword art is not a powerful sword technique. However, when used with the Four Sages' sword, it can increase the power of this sword technique greatly. Lin Yu did not get to the main point at all. Su Feng thought, could it be that Lin Yu didn't like it when she fed him? Thinking of this, she winked at Qiu Lingshan on the other side. Qiu Lingshan was the youngest book immortal among the four immortals. She used a jade brush to write words and had once defeated Lu Wuhan. However, she looked less than 20 years old now. Obviously, her talent was extremely terrifying, which was why she could be one of the 5 Wind Moon immortals. Qiu Lingshan imitated Su Feng and peeled a fresh fruit as thick as a finger and put it into Lin Yu's mouth. Her movements were very unfamiliar, but the feeling of her finger being eaten by Lin Yu made Qiu Lingshan's hair stand on end. As if she had been electrocuted, she immediately shrank back. Lin Yu glanced at Qiu Lingshan's wrist. Under the thin sleeve, he also saw a few golden lines engraved on Qiu Lingshan's wrist. The 10th level of the Golden Hook Silver Stroke. Although it can temper the body, you drew it wrong. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened. Young master, how did you know? She subconsciously pulled her sleeve. After all, men and women were different. Lin Yu looked over. When you were cultivating, did you feel the Bingfeng acupoint, Qihai Yu acupoint, and Huiyang acupoint on your back stinging? Well, a little. When you drew the 10th level on your body, the stinging started, right? Qiu Lingshan nodded. The other 3 immortals looked at Lin Yu in surprise. Young master, you've also studied acupoints and calligraphy? Shi Yu asked. I know a little. The Tao of calligraphy is connected to the Tao of talismans, and it is also compatible with array formations and blood curses. However, once there is a mistake, not only will there be no benefits, but it will also backfire. Qiu Lingshan shook her head and said, Young master, how do you know that I drew it wrong? You didn't even look at it. I don't need to look at your whole body to know. Lin Yu knew that Qiu Lingshan was a little stubborn, so he said, You drew it on your back for at least 3 years. In 3 years, did your body make any progress? Qiu Lingshan blushed and shook her head. Well, not making any progress doesn't mean I drew it wrong. But not only did your body not make any progress, but you also couldn't sleep every night. Even when you used your Yao Qi, your blood flow was a bit sluggish. Qiu Lingshan's whole body was deflated. She finally understood how powerful Lin Yu was. Shi Yu and the others didn't need to wait for Qiu Lingshan to admit it. They could tell from her expression that Lin Yu was right. Lingshan, why didn't you mention such an important thing to us? That's right. If young Master Lin hadn't seen through it, your hidden injuries would have caused you to suffer irrecoverable injuries. Qiu Lingshan bit her lips. I'm sorry. Fine. Lin Yu changed his posture. She might not even know she drew it wrong. Shi Yu was also troubled. Lingshan, do you know how to fix it? Qiu Lingshan shook her head. I don't know what went wrong. When her body showed the symptoms that Lin Yu mentioned, she had checked her body many times, but she didn't find anything wrong. Moreover, once the golden hook and silver stroke were drawn, unless Qiu Lingshan's body reached the samsara realm, it couldn't be removed. I don't know if sister has a way. That's a bit difficult. Shi Yu and Su Feng said one after another. Qiu Lingshan realized how bad her situation was. Her face was a bit pale. It's all my fault for being impatient. But even sister doesn't know how to solve it. The Wind-Moon Immortals learned different things. Qiu Lingshan certainly knew that Zhu Xian didn't understand calligraphy, so how could he solve it? Chapter 140. Only someone who knows how to do it might be able to solve it. Qiu Lingshan said dejectedly, and they have to be better than me. Because she couldn't tell. Everyone was troubled. Tianxin blinked and looked at Lin Yu. Isn't young Master Lin better than you? Everyone came back to their senses. That's right, young Master Lin can see the problem, so he definitely knows how to solve it. Young Master Lin, can you help Lingshan? If this is successful, Lingshan is willing to pay any price. The three immortals took turns to speak. Lin Yu shook his head awkwardly. It's not easy. Young Master, do you have any conditions? Qiu Lingshan could tell from Lin Yu's tone that he definitely had a way. But Lin Yu looked over. I don't have any conditions, it's just a small matter, but what? Qiu Lingshan asked. How did you draw it? Lin Yu reminded Qiu Lingshan. The latter thought about it and her face turned red. Young Master, do I really have to do that? Of course, otherwise, how can I correct the places you drew wrongly? Lin Yu shrugged, he didn't care. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened. Seeing this, the three immortals seemed to understand something. Lingshan, the path of cultivation is not to give in to small matters. Right, young Master Lin is also a gentleman. He won't tell anyone about this. Lin Yu blinked. I haven't agreed yet. Qiu Lingshan didn't dare to hesitate, she cupped her fists and said, Young Master, please help Lingshan. Lin Yu glanced at her, this brat was really stubborn, it was really rare to see her like this. Forget it, wait for me in the cabin. Qiu Lingshan understood something, her face turned red and she went in. Lin Yu stretched. Shi Yu and the other two bowed. Thank you, young master. Lin Yu nodded helplessly. If you hear any sounds later, don't disturb me. Young master, what sounds will there be? Su Feng asked. The sound of pain. After Lin Yu finished speaking, he turned around and entered the cabin. As soon as the door opened, he saw Qiu Lingshan's back facing him. The golden hooks and silver strokes on his body were also displayed without reservation in front of Lin Yu. Of course, there was also Qiu Lingshan's breathtaking beauty. Lin Yu was very calm. He knew that he was doing something serious. There are 3 wrong points. The Bingfeng acupoint, the Qihai acupoint, and the Huiyang acupoint. Lin Yu's right hand clamped down on the Huiyang acupoint with 2 fingers. 6 hours later, Lin Yu walked out. The 3 immortals were already at the door. Done eavesdropping? Lin Yu glanced at the 3 gossipy women. Sure enough, no matter how beautiful a woman was, her nature was still the same. However, at this moment, the 3 immortals' faces were all red. Young master, just now. Don't misunderstand, they are all normal voices. Lin Yu could not be bothered to say more. Put on your clothes and come out by yourself. Behind him, Qiu Lingshan appeared. Her forehead was still dripping with sweat. She immediately bowed to Lin Yu. Thank you, young master. Lingshan, how are you? Shi Yu asked. Qiu Lingshan blushed. I'm fine. I feel very comfortable. It's all thanks to young master. After hearing that, the 4 immortals bowed to Lin Yu in unison to thank him. At the same time, the warship arrived at the entrance of the Buddhist hall. Isn't this the Wind-Moon clan's warship? I wonder which immortal is here. Outside the golden door of the Buddhist hall, a familiar voice was heard. Lin Yu and the rest walked out of the warship. However, the person who spoke had a drastic change in expression. Lin Yu. Lin Yu turned around and saw the Nangong clan's warship beside him. And the people on the deck of the warship were the siblings Nangong Lai and Nangong Qin. Nangong Lai's throat was dry, because he saw that the goddess of his dreams, Shi Yu, was also following behind Lin Yu. It was a few hours' journey from here to the Wind Moon clan. 1 man and 4 women. Who knew what would happen along the way? Thinking of this, Nangong Lai even had the heart to die. I heard that a young man who did not belong to the 8 clans appeared in the southern border recently. However, he took 2 treasures from the Wind Moon gathering. So it's him. The 3rd warship arrived. On it, the word desolate was flying. Young master, it's someone from the southern desolate. Shi Yu explained to Lin Yu in a low voice. This intimate action made Nangong Lai's eyes turn bloodshot. Wu Tsang, you overestimate him. This person is just a little smart. Nangong Lai replied to the person who spoke on the southern desolate warship. It was a middle-aged man with a coarse beard. At this moment, he also glanced at Lin Yu's direction. The Wind Moon 4 immortals came together. Looking at this Lin Yu, he's just an embroidered pillow hiding behind a woman. Brother Wu Tsang is right. Nangong Lai looked at Lin Yu coldly. Brother Lai, he's very scary. Let's not provoke him. Get lost. How could Nangong Lai listen to Nangong Qin's words? The closer Shi Yu got to Lin Yu, the more his jealousy burned. At this moment, outside the temple, 3 warships were here at the same time. However, the door of the temple was not easy to open. Nangong Lai, we 4 immortals only came to assist young Master Lin. How could you know how powerful young Master is? Shi Yu spoke up for Lin Yu. She was referring to how Lin Yu helped Qiu Lingshan just now. But when these words landed in Nangong Lai's ears, it had a different meaning. I have a full hour. That Lin Yu is nothing. Nangong Lai scolded. Nangong Qin's face turned red. She did not even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that she would expose herself. Shameless. The 4 immortals said in disdain. Lin Yu looked down at Nangong Lai. How about a one-on-one? Nangong Lai's face twitched. This trick again. Lin Yu had even scared Jian Chen back then. The current Nangong Lai, of course, did not dare to accept this. It's useless. Shi Yu laughed. The laughter of the 4 immortals could be heard. Nangong Lai even had the heart to die. Didn't you say that I was hiding behind a woman? Lin Yu took a step forward and hooked his finger. Now that I'm out, do you want to fight? Nangong Lai. Lin Yu, individual strength does not mean anything. The 4 immortals laughed again. In this world where the strong were respected, Nangong Lai was angered by Lin Yu to the point that he said such stupid words. How could they not despise him? Hee, it's quite lively here. Suddenly, the 4th warship appeared outside the temple. This warship was different from the others. It was a huge flood dragon. The flood dragon was like a boat. It had 6 wings and 3 pairs of wings. The one who spoke was a man on the front wing. Those are people from the Imperial Beast tribe. Shi Yu explained behind Lin Yu. Lin Yu nodded. Although he already knew these people, it did not stop him from enjoying Shi Yu's fragrance. Especially Nangong Lai's jealous gaze. This made Lin Yu feel that it was interesting. Beihan Feng, I didn't expect the temple to invite you. On the warship of the southern wilderness, Wu Tsang laughed. Isn't this the young master of the southern wilderness? How is it? Did you succeed your father? Chapter 141. The person who spoke looked like a young master, wearing a coat made of beast fur. It was the current young master of the Imperial Beast clan, Beihan Feng. Wu Tsang's rough face darkened. If I succeed, do I still need to play with you small fries? Haha, since Brother Wu can't get the position, then play for a few more years. Beihan Feng sneered and turned to look at the wind and moon immortals. His eyes lit up. The four fairies appeared together. This Buddha hall actually has so much face? Su Feng and the others nodded casually and didn't answer Beihan Feng. The wind and moon immortals had always been arrogant, so Beihan Feng didn't care. But his gaze immediately fell on Lin Yu. What right did this kid have to be surrounded by the wind and moon immortals? This was very infuriating. This is? Nangong Lai saw this and provoked. Beihan Feng, you're getting stupider as you age. Young Master Nangong, what do you mean? Nangong Lai smiled. This is Lin Yu, whose name shook the southern land. You actually don't know him? Lin Yu? Never heard of him. Beihan Feng glanced at Lin Yu. Are you very powerful? He was naturally lying. After the 3 battles of the Wind and Moon Meet, the Sword Clan, and the Medicine Clan, Lin Yu had already become the most famous person in the southern land recently. What? I'm asking you a question. Are you mute? Beihan Feng was a little unhappy with Lin Yu's attitude. He ignored him. Young Master Lin is my Wind Moon Clan's representative this time. Young Master Bei, please be careful. Please be careful, Qiu Lingshan said. She was very unhappy with Beihan Feng's smug look in front of Lin Yu. Since the Book Immortal has spoken, I'll give Lin Yu some face. Beihan Feng retracted his gaze and muttered, so it's a trash hiding behind a woman. Shut up. Qiu Lingshan was a little angry. She raised her right hand and a jade pen appeared in her hand. She wrote the word, kill, in the air and shot it toward Beihan Feng. Interesting. Let me try out the Book Immortal's abilities. Beihan Feng also didn't expect that Qiu Lingshan would actually help Lin Yu. He took a step forward, and a huge phantom behind him let out a furious roar. It was the image of a lion stepping on flames. As soon as it appeared, it was like a real demon beast, and it directly roared towards Qiu Lingshan. Behind Beihan Feng, the dozens of people from the Beast Tamer clan also sneered. Young Master's flaming lion roar is getting more and more powerful. The word kill clashed with the flaming lion roar. Qiu Lingshan was in the Four Suns transcendent realm, but so was Beihan Feng. Qiu Lingshan, who was originally evenly matched, suddenly felt a sense of weakness. Oh no, my little sister hasn't recovered yet. After changing the golden hook and silver stroke, Qiu Lingshan had also lost some of her primordial qi. At this moment, the flaming lion roar had shattered the word kill. A look of excitement appeared on Beihan Feng's face. He took a step forward and rapidly approached Qiu Lingshan. Qiu Lingshan had a bad feeling. The moment she retreated, Beihan Feng's right hand formed a claw, and a tiger claw phantom that was 10 feet long instantly smashed down on Qiu Lingshan's head. The other 3 immortals' hearts tightened. Just as they were about to help Qiu Lingshan, they saw a figure that was faster than them. With a whoosh, he appeared beside Qiu Lingshan. That person raised his hand, and the 3 elements in one realm gathered in his hand. His 5 fingers directly formed a claw above his head. The tiger claw phantom fell, but it seemed to be tightly held by Lin Yu's hand. It couldn't move an inch further. What? Beihan Feng's eyes widened. He was surprised that Lin Yu could actually withstand his move. But when he wanted to change his move, he felt a sharp pain in his right hand. The tiger claw was forcefully pulled down by Lin Yu. The moment the tiger claw phantom shattered, his right hand was also severely injured. Hug me. After Lin Yu finished speaking in a low voice, Qiu Lingshan instinctively hugged Lin Yu's muscular waist. Suddenly, she heard a gust of wind, and Lin Yu instantly appeared in front of Beihan Feng with her in his arms. Beihan Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. He switched to his left hand, but Lin Yu caught him again. Crack! Damn it, ah! Beihan Feng cried out in pain. He was half kneeling on the ground. Lin Yu had broken the fingers on his left hand. Don't you want to be human anymore after playing with beasts for so long? Lin Yu hugged Xiao Lingshan with one hand and exerted force with the other. Beihan Feng cried out in pain again. Don't, ah! Only now did he see the person in the limelight in the south. Stop, let go of our young master. The beast tamers were about to rush forward, but the three immortals had already blocked Lin Yu's path. It's okay, let them come. Lin Yu smirked, and Beihan Feng cried out in heart-wrenching pain again. I'm asking you a question. Are you mute? Lin Yu looked down at Beihan Feng. I want to be human, ah. Beihan Feng instantly understood Lin Yu's meaning. He gritted his teeth, thinking that he could endure it. However, after 2 breaths, he begged for mercy. I don't want to be human. Louder. I don't want to be human. Lin Yu could not be bothered with such a small fry. He kicked Beihan Feng back to the beast tamer's flying beast, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. The beast tamers will remember this, the other beast tamers warned. However, they did not dare to attack Lin Yu again. On the other side, Wu Tsang and Nangong Lai looked at Lin Yu with fear. This kid is strong. He looks like he's only at the Samsara realm, but his combat strength is definitely higher. He can take Beihan Feng's attack with one hand and even injure him. This is not the combat strength of a Samsara realm cultivator. When Lin Yu returned to the warship, Shi Yu and the others smiled. There are always people who want to be slapped by young master. It seems that many people still don't believe that Jian Chen was defeated by young master. Lin Yu shrugged. He was too lazy to think about the dead Jian Chen. At this moment, a thunderous voice came from the temple. Esteemed guests have arrived. Please come in. As soon as the voice fell, the door did not open. These bald donkeys love to put on airs. Wu Tsang snorted and stepped in front of the door. He struck out with his palm. The palm hit the golden door and there was a loud echo. Wu Tsang's eyes widened, and he took a few steps back to the warship. At the same time, his face turned red. It was obvious that he was injured by the impact. What is the meaning of this? The thunderous voice came again. The hidden ape convention is related to the unresolvable demonic beast. Please show your Buddha nature. If your Buddha nature is not pure, please leave. The 4 races frowned. A bunch of bald donkeys. You asked us to help, but you still make things difficult for us? Nangong Lai scolded. He went to open the door, but he ended up like Wu Tsang. Damn it, how do we get in? In the wind-moon race, Shi Yu's face changed. Young master, the race leader taught us some Buddhist principles. Go. Lin Yu could see that she was eager to try. Shi Yu stepped in the air and appeared outside the golden door. She sat down cross-legged in the air. What is this zither fairy doing? The wind-moon race has a close relationship with the temple. Perhaps they know a way to break it. Soon, a golden Buddhist light flowed out of Shi Yu's body and merged into the golden door as if it was guided by it. The golden door immediately began to emit a cracking sound. Chapter 142. Everyone was astonished. It's open. No, it's almost there. Shi Yu frowned, stood up, and sighed softly. The golden door only opened a small gap, but it didn't open any further. Even a person couldn't pass through such a small gap. Young master. Shi Yu looked apologetic. It's okay. You already know a little about Buddhism at such a young age. You have a promising future. Shi Yu blinked. For some reason, Lin Yu was younger than her. But when he spoke, he sounded like an old man. And now he was praising a junior like an elder. This made Shi Yu feel very strange. But Shi Yu couldn't help but feel excited and grateful. Thank you, young master. Lin Yu looked around. The people of the 4 clans had a lot to say just now, but now they were all motionless. Forget it. Lin Yu knew that he was going to violate his principle of keeping a low profile again. He stepped out and appeared outside the golden door. It's him again. Nangong Lai sneered. Does he think that everyone has Buddhism? Brother Lai, don't worry about him. Lin Yu's combat power is terrifying, but Buddhism is an illusory thing that those old bald donkeys in the Buddha hall said. He can't have it. Beihan Feng and the others were also waiting for Lin Yu to embarrass himself and avenge his broken finger. On the southern Mang wasteland warship, Wu Tsang ordered a few followers behind him, prepare the warship to crash into it. This golden door can't be opened. Lin Yu stood outside the golden door, blinked, and pressed one hand on the door. His fingers exerted force. Suddenly, rumble. How is it possible? The people of the four clans, including the Wind and Moon Immortals, couldn't help but open their mouth, because they saw that the golden door was easily opened at this moment. The golden door that was dozens of feet high opened just like that, revealing the dazzling Buddhist light in the Buddha hall and illuminating the people of the four clans at the same time. They were sure that their eyes weren't playing tricks on them. How did Lin Yu do it? Is he from the Buddha hall? Impossible. The four immortals came back to their senses and immediately boarded the warship to enter the Golden Gate. The people from the other three clans were shocked. Nangong Lai immediately shouted, "Wait!" The four immortals frowned and turned around, only to see Nangong Lai's warship speeding through the Golden Gate, blocking their path. This time around, the subduing ape conclave was an invitation from the 8 major clans. We are all members of the 8 major clans, but Lin Yu is not. Nangong Lai grasped this weakness and bowed to the Beast Tamer clan and the Southern Barbarian clan. Please come in. Then the flying beast of the Beast Tamer clan and the warship of the Southern Barbarian clan bypassed the warship of the Wind Moon clan and entered the Golden Gate. Nangong Lai, the Golden Gate was opened by young master. Can you be any more shameless? Su Feng said furiously. If she had known that this guy was so annoying, she would have found a chance to kill him at the Wind Moon Conclave. Nangong Lai bowed to Su Feng. Painted Fairy, please calm down. But you and I are members of the 8 major clans. Naturally, we have to protect the rights of the 8 major clans. The Buddha Hall invited the 8 major clans. Today, whoever lets Lin Yu in will be going against our 3 major clans. He looked at Wu Tsang and Beihan Feng at the same time. What do the 2 young masters think? I agree. Whoever lets Lin Yu in will be going against our 3 major clans. Beihan Feng naturally did not hesitate. Now, he hated Lin Yu to the core. If Lin Yu had been gentler, he would have only embarrassed Lin Yu. But now, Lin Yu had broken the bones in his left hand. Although his left hand was bandaged, he already saw Lin Yu as a target to kill. In the direction of the southern wilderness, Wu Tsang also nodded. I have no objections. Those who are not from the 8 major clans, scram. Although he did not have any conflict with Lin Yu, but he was jealous that Lin Yu was surrounded by 4 beautiful women. This was a kind of jealousy from a single dog. Lin Yu blinked, thinking that these few people were troublesome. But obviously, it would be troublesome to make a move directly. He was about to take out the Sword Clan token from his storage ring, wanting to pretend to be an elder of the Sword Clan again. Shi Yu pulled Lin Yu's hand softly. Young master, this is a temporary measure. Watch me. When Lin Yu had a bad premonition, Shi Yu had already taken a step forward. Everyone, young Master Lin, has already married into our Wind Moon clan. Of course, he is part of our Wind Moon clan. Married into our clan. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Even Lin Yu could not help but spit out a mouthful of salt soda. The Wind Moon clan has always only accepted female disciples. Do you think I am stupid? Nangong Lai questioned. Shi Yu's face darkened. Young Master Nangong's ears need to be fixed. I am not talking about joining the clan, but marrying into our clan. Of course, she had thought of this. Nangong Lai's heart tightened and he scolded. Marrying into our clan? Where did that brat come from? It has only been a few days. Which of your Wind Moon clan's women would be willing to marry him? Me. Shi Yu immediately said. She was the one who thought of this rotten idea. Of course, she had an excuse. Me too. Suddenly, Su Feng also stood out. Qiu Lingshan and Tianxin saw this and did not mind the chaos. Us too. Marrying four at once. Nangong Lai suddenly felt that his cultivation was unstable. He took a few steps back and almost fell off the warship. Wu Tsang and Beihan Feng also looked like they were heartbroken. The Wind Moon Immortals married the same man? No, Lin Yu is the son-in-law of an adopted wife, and he married four women at once. I am afraid this will become the most shocking thing in the southern land. This is the most powerful son-in-law in the history of the southern land. Lin Yu was speechless. Wasn't this taking advantage of him? Can we go in now? Shi Yu said coldly. The warship entered the golden door of the Buddhist temple. Nangong Lai and the others could not find an excuse to stop them. It was more because of the news of the four immortals marrying into the clan. His goddess, Zither Fairy Shi Yu, was with Lin Yu just like that? Inside the golden door of the Buddhist temple. Young master, this is just a temporary measure. We will refute the rumors later. Seeing Lin Yu nod helplessly, Shi Yu changed the topic. Young master, how did you open the golden door? She had tried it just now and knew how difficult it was to open the stone door. Even though she tried her best to comprehend the Buddhist nature, she could only open a crack. However, Lin Yu did not even meditate, nor did any Buddhist light appear. He easily opened the stone door. I just opened it casually. Lin Yu explained casually. The so-called Buddhist nature was actually the Tao heart. It was the determination of one's self during cultivation. It included confidence, perseverance, talent, and so on. Lin Yu knew that he could not explain all of this to them in a short time. What he wanted to do now was to see the thousands of Buddhist temples that had already come into view. This was where one of the 8 clans of the southern land, the Buddhist temple, was located. At the center of these Buddhist temples, everyone saw the legendary staff. That was naturally the cosmic destruction staff. At this moment, the staff was incomparably huge. It reached into the air, and was deeply inserted in front of the largest Buddhist temple of the Buddhist temple. The 4 clans quickly approached. A white-bearded monk appeared and put his palms together. Welcome, prodigies of the 8 clans. He looked at them kindly. I am truly shocked that you were able to solve the mystery of the golden door in such a short time. Chapter 143. So it's the Hall Master, Master Ascetic. Nangong Lai smiled, clasped his fists and said, Senior Ascetic, may I know the origin of this ape? The ascetic and the 10 monks behind him all shook their heads. This ape appeared a few days ago. It didn't cause much of a commotion, but a disciple of the hall accidentally discovered that the ape actually has the strength of the unyielding stage. This is a matter of great importance. An unyielding stage monster has never appeared in the southern border, so I invited everyone to study together on how to subdue the ape. Nangong Lai smiled in his heart. He thought that this bald donkey was avoiding the important and dwelling on the trivial. Since he couldn't take down the ape, he should just admit it openly. Why did he have to keep them in suspense and study together? Since that's the case, this treasure belongs to the one who can obtain it, and so does the ape. Nangong Lai said. The ascetic monk nodded. Everyone, this beast has appeared in my temple. Therefore, the temple will be bold enough to set 2 rules. First, there will be a fair competition between all clans. Whoever can obediently take the ape away will be the one to take it away. Second, this staff is at least at the level of a sacred tool. Beihan Feng was a little unhappy and retorted, Master Ascetic, this beast doesn't belong to the hall, why do you have so many rules? The ascetic smiled, these are the rules set by the Buddha Emperor. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. The Buddha Emperor hasn't appeared for more than 30 years, and this subdue ape meeting was set by him? I don't know if it's true or not, but the hall is only one of the 8 clans, and the Buddha Emperor might not be here. The ascetic didn't explain further. Everyone, let's begin. The winner can meet the Buddha Emperor. Then I'll go first. Wu Tsang took a step in the air and flew to the top of the Nirvana heaven and earth staff. He saw an ape the size of a 3-year-old sleeping. This little thing is an unyielding stage monster? Wu Tsang sneered in his heart, and stepped onto the Nirvana universe staff quietly. Suddenly, an icy aura enveloped his whole body. What? He saw that the ape was still sleeping, but he felt a sense of danger. In the next moment, a rebounding force appeared from the Nirvana universe staff, and directly shook Wu Tsang away. Pooh! Wu Tsang landed on the ground and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. With my 4 sons' transcendent realm cultivation, I can't even go up the rod. Wu Tsang's eyes widened in disbelief. When the others saw this, on one hand they were gloating a little. On the other hand, they also felt that subduing the ape was indeed not as easy as they had imagined. Otherwise, the Buddhist hall would have done it themselves. Young master, we shouldn't be able to go up either. Shiyu said softly, the recoil force on the stick doesn't seem to come from the ape. That's the light of protection. It comes with the staff. Lin Yu said calmly. The 4 immortals also agreed. At this moment, a faint scarlet light could be seen flowing on the staff. Especially where the ape was, the light formed a light screen that blocked everything from the outside world. We can't go in. We can only lure them out. Nangong Lai judged. Although these people had repeatedly suffered at the hands of Lin Yu, they were still able to become outstanding talents of the southern border's younger generation. They also had some ability. Nangong Lai is right. Wu Tsang frowned and agreed. He gritted his teeth and went up again. This time, he didn't rashly step into the staff. Instead, he cupped his fists across the light screen. I am Wu Tsang of the southern wilderness. Are you willing to follow me? It was like playing the lute to a cow. The little monkey was still sleeping. Wu Tsang waited for a long time and said a few words, but he didn't get any response from the little monkey. The way of taming beasts still depends on us, the beast-taming tribe. Beihan Feng smiled disdainfully and said, Bei Mu, bring up the things I have prepared. After saying that, a few followers behind him took out a large piece of meat from their storage rings. The meat emitted a bloody smell. It was the size of a person. No one knew what kind of beast it was. Beihan Feng took out a brocade box and poured the powder inside on the meat. In an instant, the bloody smell of the meat was covered and replaced by a strange fragrance. At the same time, the little monkey's nose twitched and he opened his eyes. He looked down from the Qiankuan staff and saw the piece of meat at first glance. But soon, the little monkey's eyes became excited. Because he saw Lin Yu again. But he saw Lin Yu shake his head gently. The little monkey understood and didn't recognize Lin Yu. At the same time, Beihan Feng waved to the little monkey. Come and eat. The little monkey didn't hesitate and instantly stepped down. It was so fast that everyone's heart skipped a beat. It's not an ordinary invincible stage. Everyone was sure that this ape was not only in the invincible stage, but also in the 3-een stage. The sound of biting was heard. The little monkey had already begun to eat the meat. Beihan Feng smiled proudly. Since this beast has made a choice, then the beast-taming tribe will reluctantly take it. Seeing Beihan Feng's smug look, everyone was a little disdainful. But they couldn't help but look at him with envy. I didn't expect a piece of meat to be subdued. A beast is a beast. Wu Tsang and Nangong Lai frowned. If the beast-taming tribe really controlled this ape, wouldn't it have the combat strength of the invincible stage? Congratulations, Brother Bei. Nangong Lai cupped his fists and smiled, immediately starting to build a relationship. The other half of Wu Tsang was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. Who knew what Beihan Feng did on that piece of beast meat? The ape was eating happily at the moment. The beast-taming tribe does have a way. Wu Tsang also smiled casually. However, Beihan Feng replied, when I visit the southern wilderness in the future, I will bring this monkey for Brother Wu to play and let Brother Wu have fun. He was obviously mocking Wu Tsang's situation just now. Hee. Wu Tsang couldn't be bothered. His gaze fell on the Nirvana Universe staff. Beasts are difficult to control, but this sacred tool still depends on real ability. Wu Tsang was also secretly mocking Beihan Feng for being opportunistic. After saying that, he took a step forward. The clothes on his upper body suddenly burst open, revealing a sturdy combat body. Nangong Lai, Beihan Feng, and the others all frowned. Wu Tsang's combat body has probably reached the transcendent realm. The southern wilderness mainly cultivates the combat body. His glory energy realm isn't that great, but his combat body shouldn't be underestimated. Shi Yu and Su Feng's tone were a little shocked. Qiu Lingshan asked Lin Yu, Master, can he move that sacred tool? If Wu Tsang's combat body can't move it, then none of us here can. Tian Xian said first. Lin Yu smiled. Guess why the temple only invited the 4 clans? The 4 fairies thought for a while. Shi Yu answered first. Could it be because the 4 clans have their own abilities, and they can use different methods to deal with the ape and the sacred tool? Lin Yu nodded. Su Feng clapped her hands. I understand. The beast-taming tribe has a way to deal with beasts. The southern wilderness has an amazing combat body. It's very likely that they can pull out the sacred tool. Tian Xian added, the Nangong tribe is good at array technique. If the 2 clans didn't succeed, then array techniques can also be tried. Qiu Lingshan blinked. What about us? Chapter 144. The 3 immortals were stunned. The Wind and Moon 5 absolutes didn't seem to have any effect on demon beasts and sacred weapons, right? Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. Maybe the temple wants you to seduce that ape? Young Master is so naughty. That's right, the temple's eminent monks are all empty. Young Master, you think so? Listening to Su Feng and Shi Yu's rebuke, Lin Yu shrugged helplessly. He wasn't joking. Wu Tsang was already standing beside the Nirvana Universe rod. Everyone was waiting to see. Wu Tsang's tyrannical battle aura was enough to crush everyone's battle aura. But Lin Yu only cared about chatting with the 4 immortals. This was because he wanted to ease the tension of the tragedy that was about to happen. Lingshan, how do you feel on your back? Qiu Lingshan didn't understand why Lin Yu suddenly asked this. Thinking of what happened with Lin Yu before, her pretty face immediately turned red. Much better, young Master Lin. Will it relapse later? Lin Yu touched his chin. Maybe I'll give you a follow-up later. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened. Su Feng glanced at her. Lingshan, don't be afraid of pain, you must recover. She subconsciously thought that Qiu Lingshan's voice when she was being treated was because of pain. But Qiu Lingshan pursed her lips, thinking that it wasn't pain. Okay, whenever young Master has time, call me. Lin Yu nodded. Suddenly, a mournful voice came from the Nirvana rod. Lin Yu knew that Wu Tsang had failed. In this world, only he and the little monkey were the masters of the Nirvana rod. When the others touched the Nirvana rod, there was only one outcome. This Wu Tsang. 2 people from the southern wilderness rushed up. But when they touched Wu Tsang's withered hand, they felt a terrifying bloodthirsty force. Damn it, this thing is bloodthirsty. The 2 people wanted to withdraw their hands, but the blood in their hands had already been sucked dry. In an instant, arms, shoulders, and then spread to the whole body. Under the bloodthirsty force, including Wu Tsang, the 3 people from the southern wilderness all turned into dried corpses. This Buddhist hall. The others from the southern wilderness pointed at the ascetic monk. Damn bald donkey, this thing is bloodthirsty. Why didn't you tell us? The ascetic monk immediately shook his head. Benefactor, this old monk doesn't know either. Excellent, excellent. The people of the southern wilderness gnashed their teeth. They had lost 3 experts in one go. One of them was even their young master. This business was a huge loss. Hee, the Buddhist hall is truly sinister. Nangong Lai looked at Wu Tsang's corpse. Then, he glanced at the people in the temple. He was well aware of this. Was this the reason why the Buddhist hall had invited them here, because they couldn't handle the heaven and earth staff? Brother Lai, will our mountain shifting array work? Nangong Chin asked. Nangong Lai nodded. No matter how heavy it is, as long as we have the mountain shifting array, we can take it away. He took a step forward. He was too lazy to look at Wu Tsang's corpse. Even the people of the southern wilderness did not dare to come forward to collect the corpses of Wu Tsang and the other two. He was afraid that this terrifying rod would suck his qi and blood dry. Nangong Lai from the Nangong clan, come up and try. After saying that, he formed a seal with both hands. Behind him, Nangong Chin also came up to help. The two of them, one in front and one behind, half knelt on the ground at the same time. In an instant, complex patterns spread out from the palms of the two, directly forming a formation, surrounding the heaven and earth staff. The formation speed is very fast. This Nangong Lai is also deeply taught by his father, Nangong Yen. The ascetic monk narrowed his eyes and whispered. In the next moment, the earth trembled, and a terrifying suction force appeared from the formation. In an instant, everyone saw the huge heaven and earth staff as if it had fallen into the sea. In the Wind Moon clan, Shiyu said worriedly, "Young master, can Nangong Lai succeed?" Lin Yu nodded. The mountain shifting array can take away the heaven and earth staff. Hearing this, the four immortals' hearts tightened. Then we didn't come in vain this time. That's right, without subduing the ape, we can't even get the sacred weapon. Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. Then you can try to flirt with that monkey, maybe it will take a fancy to you. The four girls blushed. Young Master Lin is joking again. Forget it, the patriarch also told us that this trip is important to participate. Tian Xian and Su Feng said one after another. At this moment, 1/3 of the heaven and earth staff had been sucked into the mountain shifting array. Nangong Lai and the others smiled proudly. Qin work harder. Okay. Seeing this, the people of the southern wilderness knew that they had no chance and began to retreat from the temple. However, Beihan Feng couldn't help but laugh when he got the invincible realm beast. Why, are you in a hurry to go back for the funeral? The people of the southern wilderness sneered with a gloomy face. You'd better be careful with your words, Beihan Feng. Hey, the young master is dead. You don't even know if you can survive when you go back, and you still dare to show off to me? At least I'm better than a piece of trash like you whose finger was broken by Lin Yu with one hand. You. Beihan Feng seemed to have been hit by the southern wilderness, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Lin Yu? He looked in the direction of the Wind Moon clan. Lin Yu was still flirting with girls. Damn it. The Wind Moon immortals were laughing, but he could only get a monkey. Beihan Feng suddenly thought of something. He had the invincible realm monkey. Why would he be afraid of Lin Yu, who was only in the Samsara realm? No matter how powerful Lin Yu was, he could at most fight with him, a transcendent realm. However, if he met someone in the invincible realm, he would only be crushed. Baby monkey, are you full? Beihan Feng stroked the little monkey's fur, but the little monkey roared at him. Beihan Feng was so scared that he retracted his hand and was almost bitten. Come, bring a few more pieces of meat. It must be because it didn't eat enough. Beihan Feng comforted himself. Wait a little longer. When this beast is obedient, the first to be killed will be Lin Yu. Another half an hour passed. The Qiankuan staff had completely integrated into the mountain-moving array. Nangong Lai was overjoyed. Everyone, it seems that the hidden ape gathering is over. Nangong Lai will take his leave. I didn't expect Nangong Lai to take away the treasure just like that. Shiyu was a little unwilling. However, she felt that Lin Yu was a little strange. During the Wind Moon gathering, this guy snatched away all the treasures in one go. Why was he so kind today? He didn't even make a move from the beginning to the end. The monks in the hall looked at each other and nodded. It's a good thing that such a ferocious item can fall into the hands of the Nangong clan. The monk smiled and put his palms together. I hope young clan master Nangong can make good use of this item. His words were also a warning. After all, the Qianquan staff was too ferocious. Of course, Nangong Lai threw a storage ring into the mountain moving array. The mountain moving array slowly shrunk and integrated into the storage ring. The extinguishing Qianquan staff naturally followed into the storage ring. From the beginning to the end, Nangong Lai didn't touch the Qianquan staff with his own hands. Wu Tsang's corpse was still on the ground, reminding him of the horror of the staff. Then the Nangong clan will take their leave. Just as he was about to salute, he saw the little monkey turn around and gnash its teeth. Nangong Lai jumped in fright. Beihan Feng, keep your beast in check. He also believed that Beihan Feng had subdued the little monkey. Chapter 145. Haha, this stick belongs to him. What can I do? Beihan Feng shrugged. He suddenly thought of something and whispered to the monkey, Go and take back what's yours. He believed that the monkey would listen to him. But the little monkey didn't move. It turned to look at Lin Yu. It was waiting for Lin Yu's order. You're really my good baby. Beihan Feng was overjoyed. Everyone was confused. But someone from the beast tamer tribe stood up and explained, This beast is intelligent. It seems that it wants to take revenge because our young master was injured. Hearing this, the four immortals were worried about Lin Yu. They stood in front of him. Beihan Feng, control your beast. Don't mess around. Shi Yu warned, but there was still some uneasiness in her voice. That was an invincible realm beast. If it really wanted to take revenge on Lin Yu for Beihan Feng, the four of them together might not be able to handle it. Haha! Beihan Feng heard these people's words. He felt that he and the little monkey didn't seem to have improved their relationship. But this didn't stop him from showing off. I can't say for sure. After all, I can't control the beast to protect its master. He smiled faintly. He glanced at the little monkey. If you want to kill Lin Yu, I won't stop you. You. Seeing that Beihan Feng was deliberately misleading the little monkey, Shi Yu and the other immortals were furious. Mr. Lin, let's go first. Yeah, the situation is not right. Tianxen and Qiu Lingshan also looked serious. They pulled Lin Yu and prepared to retreat. All of a sudden, the little monkey's figure disappeared from the spot. When it reappeared, it was already in front of Lin Yu. Everyone's expression changed. It's over. Lin Yu is doomed. This beast is intelligent. It knows how to take revenge for Beihan Feng so quickly. Look at how cocky that brat Lin Yu is. Not only did he marry 4 fairies, I heard that even Xia Bing of the Yao clan and the new young master of the Sword clan, Jian Qir, are related to him. Motherf *Ker, all the prettiest girls have been taken by him, and the rest of them are too horrible to look at. Young Master Bei, quick, let the beasts kill Lin Yu. For a moment, Lin Yu's face twitched. He was such a low-key man. Who had he offended? The world is so unfair. Lin Yu shook his head in self-mockery. The 4 fairies also had apologetic looks on their faces. We have harmed young master. They hate young Master Lin so much because of us. The little monkey got closer and closer, and its figure shifted again. It actually bypassed the 4 fairies and appeared beside Lin Yu's feet. So fast. Young master, be careful. The 4 fairies felt a sense of crisis. Beihan Feng, on the other hand, was very excited. Even Nangong Lai, who couldn't lift the storage ring, looked at Lin Yu as if he was looking at a dead man. You stole my Shi Yu. Serves you right. He tried to lift the storage ring, but he still couldn't lift it. Damn it, is the rod's weight attached to the storage ring? Just when everyone thought that Lin Yu would be violently beaten up by the invincible state demon beast, they saw that the ape that frightened them was actually rubbing against Lin Yu's feet. What? The four fairies turned around. Shi Yu's eyes widened. What's going on? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Su Feng also rubbed her eyes. Everyone saw the little monkey running around Lin Yu's feet like a child, as if it was beside its father. My crotch won't do. Lin Yu bent down and gritted his teeth. Idiot, you bumped into my little brother. Hearing Lin Yu's scolding, the little monkey's excited movements finally stopped. He lowered his head and lay in front of Lin Yu. Lin Yu sighed softly and patted his head. It's okay. Your head is hard, but mine isn't. The four fairies heard this from close range and flushed. Young master, this beast. Shi Yu came to her senses and asked. But before Lin Yu could answer, the other side exploded. Damn it, stupid monkey, I wasted so much top-grade beast meat. Get back here. The person who spoke was none other than the exasperated Beihan Feng. Now, he felt like the pig he'd raised for years had been eaten. The others were still laughing at him. So it's not looking for Lin Yu for revenge, but a new master? Isn't the Beast Tamer clan good at dealing with beasts? Looks like they're just undeserving of their reputation. The people of the four clans were discussing. Beihan Feng gritted his teeth, took 3 steps forward and pointed at Lin Yu. What demonic technique did you use to trick my beast? He remembered that when he wanted to touch the monkey's fur, the monkey resisted. But now, the monkey was obediently standing beside Lin Yu. Crack, crack. The little monkey jumped around. You mean, you're going to help me clear all the obstacles? After Lin Yu asked, the little monkey immediately nodded. The four fairies suddenly understood something. Could it be that young master is the master of this invincible state beast? My goodness, no wonder young master didn't do anything. Shi Yu and Su Feng were shocked at the same time. They were the oldest among the four fairies and had the widest experience. Plus, they knew Lin Yu from the brothel, so they finally understood why Lin Yu had been so low-key. Lin Yu patted the little monkey's head. Then go, just don't go too far. As soon as he said that, Beihan Feng had a bad feeling. But the first to feel it was Nangong Lai. What's going on? He hadn't picked up the storage ring on the ground, but it suddenly started to vibrate. Crack! The storage ring shattered, and a shock wave swept out, hitting Nangong Lai squarely in the chest. Damn it, Puff! Nangong Lai spat out a mouthful of blood, and the clothes on his back were directly shattered, and his entire chest caved in. In front of him, a huge scarlet rod shot up into the sky. The little monkey slowly stepped into the air, looking down at the Beast Tamer tribe and Nangong clan. He raised his right hand, and the Qiankuan rod instantly spun in the air, and finally shot directly into his hand. Form the 36 Dipper formation. At the entrance of the main hall, the monk immediately ordered, "Block it, don't let that beast attack in." He wasn't prepared to help the Beast Tamer tribe and Nangong clan, but chose to protect his main hall first. Ba! You, what are you trying to do? I'm your master. Beihan Feng was already kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. Now, the little monkey's entire body was covered in cold and murderous aura, and with the bloodthirsty rod in his hand, it was too terrifying. But it would have been better if he didn't say that. Once he said that, it was as if he was humiliating the little monkey. In an instant, the little monkey raised the Qiankuan rod. Lin Yu, control your beast. The Beast Tamer tribe roared angrily. Lin Yu shrugged. The beast is protecting its master, I can't control it. This sentence was especially harsh in the ears of the Beast Tamer tribe. Wasn't that what Beihan Feng said just now? Chapter 146. As Lin Yu's voice rang out, the gigantic annihilating heaven and earth staff came crashing down from the sky. The dozens of beast tamers felt their vision go dark. At this moment, the gigantic WYRM flew over, but the little monkey did not even look at it. The heaven and earth staff looked huge and heavy, but in his hands, it was extremely nimble. In the blink of an eye, the staff changed from a slash to a sweep, and the beast tamer was sent flying. The WRM shrunk as if it had been knocked out of the temple's golden door. What kind of power is this? The beast tamers fled in all directions, but the heaven and earth staff was already upon them. Kaboom! The ground cracked, and the unyielding cold chi shockwave spread out. More than 10 beast tamers were instantly turned into ice sculptures. Beihan Feng's gaze sharpened. He grabbed 2 of his followers and threw them behind him. At the same time, he retreated to the side, bit his finger, and channeled all his cultivation methods. In an instant, Beihan Feng sped up and rushed out of the temple's golden door. This was a chance of survival at the cost of burning his cultivation base. The rest of the beast tamers, including the 2 that Beihan Feng used to block the attack, were all turned into ice shards. 7 shades unyielding. There's no mistaking it. This demon is even stronger than the 8 tribe leaders. The Nangong tribe fled in all directions. Nangong Lai fell to the ground, only to find that all the people he brought were gone. No one was willing to save him at this moment, including Nangong Qin. Bitch, Nangong Lai was very unwilling. He only saw the sky darken, and the shadow of a staff covered the sky. Don't kill me. Nangong Lai's pants were wet as he screamed desperately. But the staff showed no signs of stopping. Until a voice, "Wait," came. The staff suddenly stopped. The ground around Nangong Lai cracked under the heaven and earth staff's powerful pressure. Fortunately, Nangong Lai only suffered some superficial injuries. Of course, the injuries from the heaven and earth staff breaking through his storage ring were enough to make him unable to stand up. Lin Yu walked over slowly. He held dozens of storage rings in his hands. They were all the belongings of the dead beast tamers. Lin Yu made a rough estimate. Adding on the Sword Tribe Elder's heroic act of helping others, Lin Yu felt that it was too much. He just happened to have 20 billion Yaobat. These glory baths had been his greatest trump card when the god-killing array had been formed. There were also countless weapons, spirit tools, medicinal herbs, and cultivation technique. Lin Yu didn't even count them. "Do you have a handkerchief?" Lin Yu said to Shi Yu behind him. Shi Yu was stunned. She didn't know why Lin Yu would suddenly ask such a question. However, she still took out a warm handkerchief from her bosom. Lin Yu took it and wiped his hands. However, this scene fell into the hands of Nangong Lai. His whole body trembled even more violently. This person is so terrifying. From defeating Jian Chen in the Wind and Moon Union to now possessing a terrifying demonic beast like the invincible 7-Een realm. And now, Lin Yu was coldly wiping the bloodstains on his hands. It was obviously stained when he picked up the storage ring just now. "Thank you." Lin Yu returned it to Shi Yu. "It's dirty. I'll buy you another one later." Not only Shi Yu, but the 3 immortals also looked at Lin Yu in a daze. He was very calm. So calm that it was as if the deaths on the ground had nothing to do with him. "No, young master, it's fine." Shi Yu took the handkerchief and didn't care about the bloodstains on it. Lin Yu walked to Nangong Lai as if nothing had happened. The latter immediately got up with difficulty. "I was wrong. Please forgive me." After the beast tamers and the southern wilderness left, there were still many people in the temple. They all looked at Nangong Lai in surprise. The young master of the Nangong tribe, the future leader, was actually afraid of Lin Yu to this extent. "What did you do wrong?" Lin Yu smiled faintly. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have been against you. I shouldn't have been jealous of you." Nangong Lai kept kowtowing. In his heart, Lin Yu was already the most terrifying person in the world. "Then I'll marry 4 wives. Do you have any objections?" Nangong Lai immediately shook his head. "No objections. Absolutely not." The 4 immortals came back to their senses. They were all scolding Lin Yu for being so boring. Wasn't he already in the temple, and still thinking about that expedient plan? Enough. Lin Yu looked at the little monkey beside him. "Tie him up with that chain." It'll be useful in the future. Nangong Lai was the only son of the Nangong tribe's leader, Nangong Yin. But in Lin Yu's eyes, he wasn't a son. He was a shining white Yao Shu. Lin Yu no longer cared about the battle here. He turned to look at the ascetic monk and the others. Let's go. I'm not interested in your temple. Lin Yu glanced at the 36 Big Dipper monk. They were still in their positions, but their legs were weak. Hall master. They wanted to ask the ascetic monk. But they heard Lin Yu shout, if you don't scram, the staff will come. Let's go. Let's go. The ascetic monk swallowed. Ha! Amitba. Since when did the South have such a prodigy? This old monk was wrong. Lin Yu took a few steps forward. Bring me to see the Buddha Emperor. The ascetic monk frowned. This old monk still needs to report this matter. Cut the crap. Lead the way. Lin Yu was a little impatient. He also knew the tricks of the ascetic monk and the others. The so-called report had too many variables. Sir, please wait a moment. The Buddha Emperor has ordered you to wait. The ascetic monk's words became sharp. He finally walked out of the shock and remembered that he still had the Buddha Emperor as his backer. Are you sure you want me to wait? Lin Yu glanced at the ascetic monk and said with a warning tone. Amitba. The ascetic monk shook his head. The Buddha Emperor has ordered. Sir, it's useless to scare this old monk. Although he was also at the 1-in unyielding stage, Lin Yu represented the 7-in unyielding stage. The ascetic monk's eyes were firm and even a little arrogant. Why do you have to force me? Lin Yu sighed. Niu Xiaochun, why? Boom. The ascetic monk's mind seemed to be struck by lightning. You. He turned his eyes and immediately pulled Lin Yu politely. Sir, you're an important guest. How can you discuss matters in such a place? The 36 Big Dipper monks and the 4 fairies were stunned. Why did the ascetic monk's attitude suddenly change 180 degrees? Lin Yu smiled and asked casually, I have a question to ask Master Ku. The Nangong clan is good at array techniques, the Imperial Beast clan is good at controlling beasts, and the Southern Wilderness battle physique is strong. All 3 clans have the ability to touch my precious monkey. The 4 fairies blinked and seemed to have guessed what Lin Yu wanted to ask. As expected, Lin Yu continued, but this Wind Moon clan, I wonder what Master Ku plans to do? After hearing that, the 4 fairies also leaned closer to Lin Yu, wanting to hear the real reason. The ascetic monk smiled helplessly. The Wind Moon clan is full of beautiful fairies. This old monk has also specially checked this powerful monkey of yours. It's a male. Lin Yu nodded. But the 4 fairies almost vomited blood after hearing that. Isn't this the same as what Sir said? Master Ku, as the hall master of the Buddha Hall, how can you be so disrespectful? That's right. I see that you've cultivated Buddhism elsewhere? Annoying. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.